Chapter 1970. Deep Sea Devil Cave? Lin Feng looked at Wang Yin in astonishment. Deep sea devil caves were very common in the sea. Deep sea devil caves usually referred to strange caves in the deep sea. These caves were very dangerous, and cultivators who entered them would often face life-threatening danger. Wang Yin said, "A few of us entered the deep sea devil cave, but none of us came out alive. Bring me there to take a look." Lin Feng said, "Master, please come with me." Wang Yin said as he led the way. Lin Feng brought a dozen guards with him. The group quickly left. The deep-sea devil cave was about 300 li away from the Dragon Gate Island. In an hour, Lin Feng, Wang Yin, and the others arrived at the location of the deep-sea devil cave. Wang Yin said, "Master, the deep-sea devil cave is in the deepest abyss of this sea." Lin Feng nodded, and the group dived into the deep sea. Before long, they arrived at the bottom of the abyss. This abyss was at least 10,000 meters deep in the sea. The surrounding seawater was filled with a gloomy aura. This gloomy aura made people shiver. It didn't take long for Lin Feng and the others to arrive at the huge cave. "Wait here. I'll go take a look," Lin Feng said. "Master, it's too dangerous. We'll go in with you," Wang Yin said. Lin Feng said, "Don't worry. I'll be able to escape if I encounter any danger alone." Wang Yin and the others didn't dare to disobey Lin Feng, so they could only wait outside. Lin Feng stepped into the cave. The cave's aura was very gloomy, and the deeper they went, the colder the aura became. There are runes on the walls?" Lin Feng looked at the walls in surprise. He hadn't noticed them before. He took a quick glance. He discovered something extraordinary. The walls were densely packed with runes. They were a mysterious formation. These formation runes were extremely ancient. Lin Feng examined many of them. He realized that he had never seen such an array pattern before. "This deep-sea devil cave isn't naturally formed?" Lin Feng muttered to himself. He was much more careful now. He continued to walk inside. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard some voices coming from the depths of the forest. When he heard that strange sound, he felt a stabbing pain in his heart. This feeling made Lin Feng frown. This deep-sea devil cave really wasn't simple. It could even be called strange. He endured the stinging pain and continued to walk inside. Dong dong dong, dong dong dong. That strange sound was getting clearer and clearer. The pain in Lin Feng's heart became more and more intense. He even thought that his heart was about to split open. It was a terrible feeling. "What's inside?" Lin Feng frowned. He was unwilling to leave just like that. Enduring the pain in his heart, he continued to walk forward. Suddenly, Lin Feng vaguely saw something. In the deepest part of the cave, clouds of black gas were spreading out. Swish, swish. Immediately after, two cold eyes opened. At that moment, Lin Feng felt that his soul was about to split open. That mysterious existence. He didn't know what kind of creature it was. It was unimaginably terrifying. Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate. He turned around and rushed outside. Hoo! Suddenly, a strong devouring force surged over. That strong devouring force wanted to suck Lin Feng into the black hole. Fortunately, Lin Feng was about to rush out of the cave. When the powerful devouring power surged over, he rushed out ahead of time. "Let's go!" Lin Feng shouted and left quickly with Wang Yin and the rest. Finally, they were floating outside the abyss. Lin Feng looked at the deep-sea devil cave from afar. His expression was very serious. Wang Yin asked, "Master, did you see something?" Lin Feng said, "There seems to be some terrifying creature trapped inside. Inform everyone not to come to this place again." "Yes, Master. When we return, I will pass down the order," Wang Yin replied, and Lin Feng nodded. The group didn't stay for long and quickly left. On the way back, Lin Feng exchanged some ideas with the Demon Lord. He asked the Demon Lord what could be in that cave. The Demon Lord said, "It is sealed in the deep-sea devil cave. Mysterious and ancient restrictions cover the entire deep-sea devil cave. After so many years, it still hasn't died. It is hard to imagine what kind of existence it is." Lin Feng frowned slightly. Such a strange deep-sea devil cave appearing not far from Dragon Gate Island was not a good thing. If the creature inside escaped, it would be a huge problem. The only thing he could rejoice about was that the seal seemed to be quite strong. That creature shouldn't be able to escape for the time being. After returning to Dragon Gate Island, Lin Feng saw the 5 women. The 5 women gave off an especially attractive feeling of maturity. After seeing Lin Feng, the 5 women bowed and greeted Lin Feng. However, their faces were all red. Lin Feng nodded. At night, he removed the 5 women's slave status. The 5 women were free. Each of them cried tears of joy. Now, you are free. You can continue to stay on Dragon Gate Island or leave. I will not stop any of you. Lin Feng said, "We are willing to follow young master and serve young master every day." The 5 women hurriedly said, "The land of women, the grave of heroes." Lin Feng fully experienced the meaning of this sentence. Surrounded by beauties, he had sex with them. He was very happy. The past 2 days had been extremely absurd. 300 li away, the fleet of Fire Scorpion Island sailed over. Crimson Fire Scorpion asked, "How long until we reach Dragon Gate Island?" Reporting to Island Lord, "We will reach within 2 hours." An elder replied, "Great. Pass down the order. All the warships are to prepare for battle." Crimson Fire Scorpion said with a smile, "Yes." The elder hurriedly went to pass down the order. "Look, the fleet of Fire Scorpion Island is here. Heavens, there are actually 50 ancient warships. What a huge investment. Could it be that Crimson Fire Scorpion is here personally?" Many people exclaimed. "Woo woo woo." The sound of the bugle horn resounded through the clouds. The cultivators on Dragon Gate Island were already alarmed. Seeing so many fleets arriving, the cultivators on Dragon Gate Island were very calm. Back then, Lin Feng's ancient ship destroyed a fleet of the evil Dragon Palace. Everyone prostrated themselves in admiration of this young master, Lin Feng. In everyone's opinion, as long as Lin Feng was here, anyone who came to invade Dragon Gate Island would definitely suffer heavy losses. Fire. After the fleet of Fire Scorpion Island was about 10 li away from Dragon Gate Island, Crimson Fire Scorpion gave the order to fire. Boom, boom, boom. A dense barrage of spirit stone cannonballs shot toward the Dragon Gate Island. Chapter 1971. They've launched an attack. Will the Dragon Gate Island be destroyed? Many of the spies in the surroundings exclaimed. The Fire Scorpion Island had sent a total of 50 battleships. Such a force. It was enough to destroy any island. Wong. At this moment, the Dragon Gate Island's restriction was activated. The powerful restriction protected the Dragon Gate Island. Bang, bang, bang. When the densely packed spiritual stone shells fell, they were all blocked by the Dragon Gate Island's restriction. Lin Feng had mastered the Emperor runes. Therefore, the restriction he had set up was much stronger than before. If the battleships wanted to destroy the Dragon Gate Island's restriction with their spiritual stone shells, they would need at least 3 days and 3 nights. It was impossible to destroy the Dragon Gate Island's restriction in a short period of time. Many people were shocked to see that the Dragon Gate Island's restriction remained intact under the bombardment of so many spiritual stone shells. "There's a formation grandmaster in the Dragon Gate Island," someone said. "So what if he's a formation grandmaster? The Fire Scorpion Island has sent out 50 battleships. They'll destroy the restriction sooner or later. When that happens, the Dragon Gate Island will be destroyed." Another person said with a sneer. Obviously, he wasn't optimistic about the Dragon Gate Island's future. The others nodded and agreed with this view. Unless the Dragon Gate Island could organize a counterattack, otherwise, they were destined to be annihilated in such a war. Rumble. At this moment, a loud sound was heard. Everyone saw an ancient ship flying out of the Dragon Gate Island. The ancient ship sailed directly toward the Fire Scorpion Island's fleet. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this. An ancient ship was charging toward the Fire Scorpion Island's fleet? Was this a death wish? "This is crazy. I've never seen such a death wish," many people were discussing. In their opinion, this was no different from a death wish. "You're courting death. Assault battleships. Destroy that ancient ship for me." Qilian Huaxie stood on the main ship and sneered. After receiving the order, 2 assault battleships rushed toward the Xinyuan ancient ship at lightning speed. Then, the 2 assault battleships sandwiched the Xinyuan ancient ship in the middle. Fire! Fire! The captains of the 2 assault ships gave the order at the same time. Fire! Inside the ancient ship, Wan and Yang also gave the order to fire. Boom, boom, boom. It was accompanied by an earth-shattering sound. A dense barrage of spirit stone shells flew out. The spirit stone cannon of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was a combination of 3 barrels. It could fire 3 cannonballs at a time. Furthermore, he had the support of Emperor runes. It was not something an ordinary warship could contend against. Bang, bang, bang. A portion of the cannonballs from both sides collided and exploded in midair, while the rest of the cannonballs smashed onto the defensive barrier of the ancient ship. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was protected by the Emperor's runes and didn't suffer any damage. However, the 2 assault ships of the Fire Scorpion Island couldn't withstand the attacks of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Kacha kacha. The seal was shattered. Then, a dense barrage of spirit stone shells landed on the 2 assault ships. The 2 assault ships immediately disintegrated. The 1,000 cultivators on the 2 vanguard ships were killed without even having the chance to escape. It was shocking. It was simply too shocking. The 2 assault ships were destroyed as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. How can that ancient ship be so powerful? Someone cried out in alarm. Could it be an ancient warship from the primordial era, or even older? The top-grade ancient warships of that era were often enchanted with Emperor runes. That's why those ancient warships were so terrifying. An ancient warship from that era would have no problem fighting against a fleet of the current era. However, ancient warships from that era are too rare nowadays. Someone continued to say, yes, the ancient warships of that era are too terrifying. Even if the Dragon Gate Island's ancient warship isn't from that era, it should be at least a high-grade ancient warship. It must be a very high-grade warship. Someone else said. Many spies couldn't help but feel excited. They looked toward the battlefield. Destroy it! Scarlet Fire Scorpion roared in exasperation when he saw the 2 assault ships being destroyed by the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Shortly after, 10 warships charged forward. Boom, boom, boom. While charging forward, the 10 warships fired a barrage of shells at the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship didn't continue firing. Instead, it waited for the 10 warships to get closer. Since the 10 warships were lined up in a row in front of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship, the shells in front of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship couldn't cover the 10 warships. Therefore, the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship waited for the 10 warships to surround it. Sure enough, it didn't take long. The 10 warships spread out in an oval shape and surrounded the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Huge spirit stone cannons aimed at the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Fire! The captains of the 10 warships gave the order at the same time. Fire! Wan and Yang also gave the order. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, a barrage of spirit stone cannons flew out. The spirit stone cannons bombarded the enemy warships. A shocking scene appeared. Under the siege of the 10 warships, the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship remained undamaged. However, the restrictions of the 10 warships besieging the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship were destroyed one after another. Next, the spirit stone cannons landed on the 10 warships. Kacha kacha. The 10 warships began to disintegrate. The warships are about to sink. Hurry up and run. Many people cried out in horror. They wanted to run for their lives. However, they couldn't escape. The barrage of spirit stone cannons landed on the warships. The warships exploded, and countless limbs were severed. The 10 warships were all sunk. The cultivators of Fire Scorpion Island on the 10 warships were all killed. Heavens, this is too terrifying. The eyes of the spies nearly popped out. The cultivators of Dragon Gate Island were also jubilant and excited. A single ancient starry sky ship against a fleet. This was simply too shocking. Moreover, it was too exciting. Many people felt their blood boil as they watched. Damn it! How is this possible? Scarlet Fire Scorpion's expression was gloomy as he roared. Charge! Wan Yang gave the order. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship charged towards the fleet of Fire Scorpion Island. Attack together. I don't believe we can't destroy this ancient starry sky ship. Scarlet Fire Scorpion roared furiously. Currently, the fleet of Fire Scorpion Island still had 38 warships left. Boom, boom, boom. The spirit stone cannons on the 38 warships were all ignited. The overwhelming number of spirit stone cannons bombarded the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. However, all the spirit stone cannons were blocked by the restrictions of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship directly charged into the fleet. It rammed into the warships one after another. Bang, 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 kacha, kacha. The warships were dismembered by the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Chapter 1972. The powerful combat strength of the ancient ship had shocked everyone. It was a one-sided battle. The ancient ship had single-handedly destroyed a fleet. The fleet did not even have the strength to fight back. No one dared to believe that this was real. Bang, bang, bang. Kacha, kacha. Sounds of collisions and warships being dismembered could be heard one after another. The ancient ship, Xinyuan, destroyed one warship after another in the most violent way. Island Lord, our losses are too heavy. We have to retreat quickly, or else all the warships might be destroyed. An elder from Fire Scorpion Island hurriedly reported. Qilian Fire Scorpion's face was extremely ugly. He could not believe what he was seeing. However, what was happening before him was real. The huge fleet he had built was about to be destroyed. Retreat. Qilian Fire Scorpion roared in exasperation. Woo, woo, woo. The sound of the bugle horn resounded through the sky. The warships fled into the distance. They are retreating. Many of the spies were moved. Such a huge fleet was actually defeated by an ancient ship from the Dragon Gate Island. Everyone was shocked. Qilian Fire Scorpion was considered a tyrant in the ancient desolate sea region. When had he ever suffered such a huge loss? However, he did not expect that. He would suffer such a huge loss. However, all of this, it was irreversible. The ancient ship, Xinyuan, chased after them and destroyed another 7 to 8 warships before returning. In the end, only 23 of the 50 warships from Fire Scorpion Island managed to escape. The remaining warships were all destroyed. The result of this battle quickly spread throughout the ancient desolate sea region. Many of the upper echelons of the major forces were shocked when they heard the news. Originally, these major forces thought that Dragon Gate Island would be destroyed by Fire Scorpion Island. However, they did not expect such an outcome. Now that Fire Scorpion Island had suffered such a huge loss, they had to recuperate for the time being. As for Dragon Gate Island, it became lively. Many overseas itinerant cultivators came to seek refuge. There was no lack of experts in the overseas world. However, they lacked a force that could protect these overseas itinerant cultivators. Many overseas itinerant cultivators saw how powerful Dragon Gate Island was. In addition, Dragon Gate Island had just been established. It was time to recruit and strengthen themselves. This was clearly the best time to join the Dragon Gate Island. The treatment of the cultivators who joined earlier was naturally incomparable to that of the cultivators who joined later. Of course, not every cultivator wanted the Dragon Gate Island. If Lin Feng wanted to recruit people, he wanted to recruit real elites. Many factions had tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of people. Although there were many people, but in reality, the elite troops only made up a small portion of the army. Lin Feng's plan was to use all kinds of resources on a small number of truly elite experts. In this way, they would be able to train these elite experts into an elite army that obeyed orders and fought in an orderly manner. Therefore, the Dragon Gate Island's first rule for recruiting cultivators was that they would not accept anyone below the True God realm. This rule was enough to shut out 90% of the cultivators. This was because a True God realm cultivator could be considered an expert in the outer seas. If such a cultivator were to join any force, they would definitely be treated well. Therefore, in the next half a month, the Dragon Gate Island only recruited about 1,000 cultivators. Lin Feng selected 200 top-notch figures from the 1,000 people and allocated them to the Butterfly to join the Butterfly's Purgatory Assassin Organization. The Butterfly's Purgatory Assassin Organization had the best treatment. in addition to being able to obtain 3 Heaven God Divine artifacts. Every month, they would also receive 200,000 Origin Crystals and 1,000 Demon Transformation Immortal Pills. Therefore, their cultivation progressed very quickly. The remaining people joined the Dragon Gate Army. The Dragon Gate Army's standard was 3 Heaven God Weapons. Every month, they would receive 150,000 Origin Crystals and 800 Demon Transformation Immortal Pills. In fact, these cultivators wouldn't be able to use up the 100,000 Origin Crystals every month. As for the Demon Transformation Immortal Pills, which were high-level pills, in the entire 9 states, only Lin Feng knew how to refine them. Therefore, they were extremely precious. The cultivators who joined the Dragon Gate Army also cultivated with the precious Demon Transformation Immortal Pills, and not with Origin Crystals. The effect of cultivating with the Demon Transformation Immortal Pills was 10 times better than cultivating with Origin Crystals. Lin Feng also prepared 72 types of great formations for the Dragon Gate Army to cultivate. When a large army fought, they would often have to set up formations because formations could increase the effect of the battle. Therefore, the Dragon Gate Army had to practice great formations so that they could erupt with the most powerful battle strength. On this day, Wanyan Yang came to pay a visit to Lin Feng. He said, "Master, half a month has already passed, and we have only recruited 1,000 cultivators. Isn't the number too little? Do you think we can lower the standard a little? We can lower the standard of recruitment a little. If that's the case, we will definitely be able to form an army very quickly. Right now, our Dragon Gate Army has too few people." Lin Feng said, "What I need is a group of true elites. Therefore, the standard cannot be lowered. Right now, it is difficult to recruit experts because our Dragon Gate has only been established for a short period of time and our reputation has not truly spread. Once the Dragon Gate's reputation is completely spread, there will definitely be an endless stream of experts coming. Yes, then this subordinate will go and train the army." Wanyan Yang responded and immediately left. Another half a month passed. In this half a month, the Dragon Gate had only recruited 400 cultivators. It was even less than the number of cultivators they had recruited in the past half a month. Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. His minimum standard was to form an elite army of around 100,000 people. However, it was obvious that they were still far from Lin Feng's minimum standard. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that this matter could not be rushed. He needed to wait for an opportunity. On this day, flames were rolling in the distant sky. Within the flames stood a tall and sturdy man who looked like a flaming war god. That man flew towards the Dragon Gate Island as fast as lightning. 2 hours later, the man saw the location of the Dragon Gate Island. "Ha ha ha ha, I have arrived at the Dragon Gate Island." The man descended from the sky and finally landed outside the Dragon Gate Island. "Dragon Gate Sect Leader, where are you? Quickly come out." The man suddenly shouted, "Who are you? How dare you be so impudent?" A group of island guards flew over and shouted coldly, "Get your sect leader to come out and see me." The man's voice was like thunder. "Tell me your name. We will naturally report it for you." The island guard captain said, "Do small fries like you deserve to know my name? Fine, I will personally go and see him." The man stepped out and walked towards the inner part of the island. "Are you deliberately looking for trouble? Let's go together and chase him out." The island guard captain shouted in a deep voice and took the lead to charge towards the man. The remaining 20 or so island guards followed closely behind and charged towards the man. The man curled his lips in disdain and stepped forward. His body emitted a terrifying aura. No one could resist the aura emitted from his body. Everyone felt as if they were carrying an ancient divine mountain on their backs. Their legs went soft. Thump, thump. In the next moment, all of them knelt on the ground, unable to move. Chapter 1973. This cultivator was really powerful. Just his aura alone was enough to suppress so many people. His cultivation was simply unfathomable. One had to know. The cultivators guarding the Dragon Gate Island were at least at the true God realm. With such powerful strength, it was hard for them to withstand the pressure from this man. From this, just how powerful was this man's cultivation? Soon, he arrived at the depths of the Dragon Gate Island. At this moment, Wanyan Yang, who had received the news, came out. He looked at the man coldly and said, "Who are you? How dare you behave atrociously in my dragon gate?" The man looked at Wanyan Yang indifferently and said, "Are you the sect leader of the Dragon Gate?" "The sect leader is my master," Wanyan Yang said. "Ask your master to come and see me." The man said, "You barged into my Dragon Gate and humiliated my cultivators. How dare you ask to see my master? If I don't teach you a lesson today, others will think that the Dragon Gate is easy to bully." Wanyan Yang looked indifferent as he stepped forward, wanting to deal with this man. "Wanyan, you can leave now." Suddenly, an indifferent voice resounded. Lin Feng didn't know when, but he had appeared 10 meters away from the man. The man turned to look at Lin Feng with a slightly more solemn expression. "Sun Jian." Lin Feng. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the two of them leaped up and charged at each other. They threw a punch at each other. They attacked each other. Bang! The two of them collided fiercely. All of a sudden, the earth shook and the mountains shook. "Your strength is not bad. You can already fight with me. Come with me. Let's fight in the sea," Lin Feng said aloud as he soared into the sky. "Humph. I'd like to see what ability you have to say such words." Sun Jian snorted and soared into the sky, following Lin Feng outside. The cultivators of the Dragon Gate also rushed out and came to the sea to watch the battle. "It's the Inferno god of war, Sun Jian." Suddenly, a cultivator exclaimed as he recognized Sun Jian. To Wanyan Yang and the others, Sun Jian was just a simple name. They didn't know who Sun Jian was. Like Lin Feng, Wanyan Yang and the others had not been in the ancient Desolate Sea domain for long. He did not know much about the ancient Desolate Sea region. Naturally, the experts in the ancient Desolate Sea region were not particularly clear about it. However, the cultivators they had recently recruited had been living in the ancient Desolate Sea region. These people had a better understanding of the experts in the ancient Desolate Sea region. He knew Sun Jian very well. Wanyan Yang asked, "Who is this Sun Jian?" Sun Jian is a famous itinerant cultivator in the ancient Desolate Sea region. He has been cultivating for 13,000 years and was originally ranked 5th among the pirates in the ancient Desolate Sea region. This person's ferocious reputation has spread far and wide. Who knows how many lives he has taken? The cultivator hurriedly said. Wanyan Yang nodded and looked at the sea. Lin Feng hovered above the sea and looked at Sun Jian indifferently. "I won't ask why you came to the Dragon Gate. I just want to say one thing." Lin Feng looked at Sun Jian and said indifferently, "What is it?" Sun Jian asked, "If you lose, submit to me. If you lose, you will lose. Do you agree?" Lin Feng looked at Sun Jian indifferently and asked. Sun Jian was a battle-hungry person. He had come to the Dragon Gate to challenge the sect leader. Therefore, when he heard Lin Feng's request, he sneered. "If you really have the ability, what's wrong with submitting to you? I'm afraid that if you don't, I'll beat your head off." He walked step by step toward Lin Feng. The battle intent on his body grew stronger and stronger. In the end, the battle intent on his body grew stronger and stronger. It was almost tangible. Many people in the Dragon Gate could feel the aura emanating from Sun Jian from afar. Their faces turned pale. Sun Jian is too strong. I wonder if the sect leader can defeat him? The sect leader's tone is calm. He seems very confident. It shouldn't be a problem to defeat Sun Jian, right? That's because the sect leader doesn't know who Sun Jian is. If he knows Sun Jian's background, he will know how terrifying Sun Jian is. Yeah, Sun Jian is too terrifying. Moreover, the sect leader seems a little too young. Many people started discussing. Although Lin Feng was the sect leader of the Dragon Gate, in reality, Lin Feng had never fought with anyone before. Therefore, many cultivators in the Dragon Gate did not know about Lin Feng's cultivation level. It was naturally not an easy task to defeat an expert like Sun Jian. Many cultivators in the Dragon Gate did not have much hope for Lin Feng. In fact, Lin Feng wanted to fight with Sun Jian for two reasons. First, he wanted to subdue Sun Jian. Second, he wanted to show his strength in front of the Dragon Gate's experts. "Celestial shaking divine fist," shouted Sun Jian furiously. He then threw himself at Lin Feng while releasing a terrifying amount of battle energy. He threw a punch at Lin Feng. If it were anyone else, they would definitely be affected by the powerful aura from Sun Jian. However, Lin Feng was different. He only needed to circulate the Archean dragonesque elephant art slightly to dissolve Sun Jian's aura. In the face of Sun Jian's attack, Lin Feng performed the supreme technique, Stoneman watching the sea of clouds that he had just comprehended from the sea-watching scripture. The Dharma seals were successfully condensed. An illusory world appeared. In that illusory world, a stoneman sat on the top of the cliff and looked into the distance, watching the vast sea of clouds. When the illusory world descended from the sky, the battle intent that Sun Jian had condensed was instantly dispersed. Sun Jian's expression suddenly sank. He threw punch after punch at the stoneman, watching the sea of clouds that Lin Feng had condensed. Bang, bang, bang. After dozens of punches, the stoneman watching the sea of clouds that Lin Feng had condensed was also shaken. It was a half-immortal technique. Sun Jian's strength was indeed terrifying to be able to shake the stoneman watching the sea of clouds. However, at this moment, Lin Feng appeared behind Sun Jian and threw a punch at Sun Jian. Sun Jian was shocked. He turned around and threw a punch at Lin Feng. Bang! The two sides collided again. Heavens, that's many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Sun Jian's body was rapidly aging. Great reincarnation technique. Sun Jian couldn't help but roar. He could feel that his strength was rapidly weakening. He also saw his own aging body. He wanted to quickly get rid of Lin Feng, but it was too late. Lin Feng's stoneman watching the sea of clouds descended from the sky. At the same time, Lin Feng used the 8 forbidden seals. Divine runes wrapped around Sun Jian one after another. Sun Jian's battle strength had decreased sharply because he had been hit by the eternity technique. Now, he was powerless against the stoneman watching the sea of clouds and the 8 forbidden seals. In the end, Lin Feng used the 8 forbidden seals to seal Sun Jian. Heavens, Sun Jian is a 10th firmament celestial god, but he was suppressed by the sect master in 3 moves. Isn't the sect master too terrifying? What is the sect master's cultivation level? He can't be a giant god, right? Countless people cried out in shock. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Chapter 1974. Sun Jian's expression was uncertain. He was a 10th firmament celestial god, but he was defeated in 3 moves. It was hard for him to accept. You've lost. It's time for you to fulfill your promise, Lin Feng said calmly. Sun Jian's body gradually regained its youth. However, his expression was extremely ugly. Sun Jian had never thought that he would lose. That was why he agreed readily. However, he had lost miserably in the hands of Lin Feng. Should he agree? Or should he go back on his word? In the end, Sun Jian gritted his teeth and made a decision. He half knelt on the ground, raised his hands and said, "Please accept my loyalty." Lin Feng reached out and placed his hand on Sun Jian's hand. "I accept your loyalty." The cultivators on the Dragon Gate Island immediately cheered in joy. Firstly, they were amazed by the sect leader's strength. Secondly, they were surprised that the sect leader had subdued an expert like Sun Jian. Sun Jian was a top expert. With Sun Jian joining the Dragon Gate, the strength of the Dragon Gate would increase significantly. The sect leader of the Dragon Gate is actually so powerful, there had been spies from various major forces in the outer area of the Dragon Gate Island. Now that they saw Lin Feng defeating Sun Jian in 3 moves, they were extremely shocked. Soon, the news gradually spread in the ancient desolate sea domain. Some people believed the rumor, but more people did not believe it at all. It was widely rumored that the sect leader of the Dragon Gate was a very young cultivator. Such a cultivator might have amazing talent and strength. However, defeating Sun Jian in 3 moves? Who was he kidding? During this period, the Dragon Gate had been recruiting, but the progress was slow. Therefore, many people thought that the news was spread by the Dragon Gate. Their purpose was self-evident. They wanted to attract more cultivators to join the Dragon Gate. Although many people did not believe it, there were still some who believed the rumor. Therefore, in the following period of time, more cultivators joined the Dragon Gate than before. After Sun Jian joined the Dragon Gate, he soon gave Lin Feng a headache. This guy would challenge Lin Feng whenever he was free. Lin Feng had beaten him up so many times that he could not get up. However, After he recovered, he continued to challenge him. He continued to be beaten up. It was a cycle. In these 3 months, Sun Jian had lost count of how many times he had been beaten up by Lin Feng. Although he had been beaten up, he had gained a lot. This was because Sun Jian had actually broken through from the heavenly god stage to the quasi-giant god stage. That was the realm of those ancestor-level experts. This made Sun Jian very excited. During this period of time, the number of people in the Dragon Gate army continued to increase, reaching around 5,000 people. The number of people in the Butterfly's Purgatory Assassin organization had also reached 1,500. Because these people were all masters, there weren't many of them. However, it was definitely one of the most elite armies in the ancient Desolate Sea region. On this day, more than 10 cultivators flew in from outer space and requested to see Lin Feng. These cultivators were from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The Rogue Cultivator Alliance was a loose organization in the ancient Desolate Sea region. One of them was the Round Table Conference. The members of this Round Table Conference were the leaders of various powerful forces. If anything major happened in the ancient Desolate Sea domain, the Rogue Cultivator Alliance would gather the members of the Round Table Conference and head to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance for a meeting. Then, they would discuss and solve the problem. Lin Feng received these people. The leader of the group was an old man called Wu Run. He had a thin body and a sharp gaze. This old man's cultivation was clearly very powerful. I'm here to inform the sect master that the Round Table Conference will be held a month later. The upper echelons of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance have discussed this matter and believe that Sect Master Lin is qualified to participate in this conference. Therefore, I'm here to inform Sect Master Lin. Wu Ren said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "All right, I'll be there on time. Everyone has traveled a long way, and it must have been hard on you. I've already arranged accommodations for everyone. Stay here for a few days and have a good rest." Wu Ren said, "We still have some unfinished business here, so we can't delay any longer. Since the message has been delivered, we won't be staying here any longer. Farewell." "Since that's the case, I won't keep you any longer. I wish everyone a safe journey." Lin Feng cupped his fists. Then, he sent Wu Ren and the others out. After that, he gave Wanyan Yang a look. Wanyan Yang understood what he meant. After sending Wu Ren and the others out of the island, he stuffed a storage ring into Wu Ren's hands. "Inside are some small items that our young master has prepared. They aren't anything valuable. Please accept them, Brother Wu," Wanyan Yang said with a smile. Wu Ren smiled and said, "Sect Master Lin, you're too courteous." The two of them chatted for a while before Wu Ren and the others left. Along the way, Wu Ren checked the storage ring and found 5 million origin crystals. He was stunned. "Sir, is there something wrong with the items inside?" The rest of the people noticed that Wu Ren's expression wasn't quite right. They couldn't help but ask curiously. Wu Ren said, "It's rumored that Sect Master Lin's wealth is boundless. It seems like the rumors are true. He casually gave us 5 million origin crystals." "What? 5 million? The others couldn't help but gasp. 5 million origin crystals. It was a mountain of origin crystals. Wu Ren took out 1 million origin crystals and said, "Take these origin crystals and divide them among yourselves." "Thank you, sir." The group was overjoyed and thanked Wu Ren profusely. After Wu Ren and the others left, Sun Jian said, "Young master, I'm afraid something good is about to happen." "Oh, something good is about to happen? What good is it?" Lin Feng said in surprise. Normally, the Knights Roundtable Conference is only held when something big happens. Nothing big has happened in the ancient Desolate Sea area. Therefore, I guess this Roundtable Conference might be held because some secret treasures or immortal residences have been found and experts need to explore them. Sun Jian said. The overseas world. Lin Feng knew that there were many secret treasures and immortal abodes. If what Sun Jian said was true then, it was indeed something good. All right, make some preparations and bring the 3,000 Dragon Gate army to the Independent Cultivator Alliance in advance. First, go to the Independent Cultivator Alliance and make some connections with the upper echelons of the Independent Cultivator Alliance. Then, buy some top-grade ancient warships. Lin Feng ordered. Yes, I'll make the preparations now. Sun Jian nodded and left. Roundtable Conference? This is interesting. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. 10 days later, Lin Feng brought Wanyan Yang to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. That night, a hurricane suddenly blew across the sea. The hurricane wreaked havoc and swept across the land. Huge waves that were tens of thousands of feet high surged. Countless ships in the sea were destroyed by the hurricane. Lin Feng and Wanyan Yang landed on an island. They found a cave to rest. Soon, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Torrential rain poured down. Then, the rain poured down. Boom! A shocking fluctuation came from the sky above the sea. Cultivators were engaged in a great battle. More than 10 cultivators were besieging a woman in a black dress. Chapter 1975. Hand over that treasure. Otherwise, today will be the day you die. A cultivator coldly looked at the female cultivator. First, let's see if you can win against my sword. The female cultivator coldly snorted. The sword in her hand slashed out dense sword chi as she fought against the cultivators. While these people were fighting fiercely, in the sea, people continuously rushed to the island. The cultivators who rushed to the island ignored the female cultivator and the others who were fighting. At this time, with such a majestic storm and raging storm, these people had no interest in watching other people fight to the death. Many people entered the island to take shelter from the rain. Cultivators continuously escaped from the sea to the island. The storm became more and more terrifying. The storm became stronger and stronger. The huge island was even shaking. Many cultivators who rushed to the island from the sea were swept away by the storm before they could reach the island. Their bodies were torn to pieces. The female cultivator was very powerful. She used the waning snow sword technique. The snowflakes in the sky mixed with the rain and swept toward the cultivators who were besieging her. Pooh, pooh, pooh. Cultivators were directly killed by the female cultivator. The female cultivator hurriedly rushed to the island. More than 20 people entered the cave Lin Feng and Wanyan Yang were in. Not long after, the female cultivator also flew in. Then, she found a hidden place to rest. Lin Feng looked at the hurricane outside and frowned. How come there's such a strong wind and a strong wind? How come there's such a strong wind? It's really strange. At this time, an old man put his palms together and kept praying. A cultivator looked at the old man and asked, "Senior, do you know what's going on? In all these years, I've never seen such a powerful storm." Deep sea monster. The deep sea monster has awakened. The old man's expression was unsightly. Deep sea monster? Senior, don't scare us. Many people's voices trembled. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask, "What's a deep sea monster?" It's an undead creature that hibernates in the deep sea. It has the power to destroy all life. Anyone who sees a deep sea monster will lose their life. No one can escape the attack of a deep sea monster. The old man said with a trembling voice, "Undead creatures? What does he look like? He's actually this powerful?" Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. "I'm not sure. Those who have seen the deep sea monster are all dead." The old man said, "No way. How could it be a deep sea monster? The deep sea monster is just a legend." Some people were unwilling to believe the old man's words. It can't be wrong. It couldn't be wrong. Although the deep sea monster hasn't awakened for tens of thousands of years, it must be a deep sea monster. Only when a deep sea monster awakens would such a terrifying storm appear. The old man said. Lin Feng frowned. Seeing the old man speak so seriously, could it be that the so-called sea storm was caused by the awakening of the giant monster in the deep sea? It sounded a little too mysterious. Could such a terrifying storm be caused by a ferocious beast? Lin Feng believed that an Emperor Realm existence could cause such a storm. However, for a ferocious beast to cause such a terrifying storm, could it be that the deep-sea monster was an Emperor Realm existence? Lin Feng asked, if it's really a deep-sea monster, why would it awaken after so many years of hibernation? It's the Tushi ancient coin. Someone must have obtained the Tushi ancient coin, which is why the deep-sea monster awakened. The old man said with a trembling voice. His entire body was trembling nonstop. Clearly, he was quite frightened. What's the Tushi ancient coin? Lin Feng asked, puzzled. The others had clearly never heard of the Tushi ancient coin, so they all looked at the old man. The Tushi ancient coin is an ancient coin created by the Tushi Immortal Kingdom's ruler a long, long time ago. He collected the most precious sage emperor gold and forged it. It's said that a single coin can buy an emperor realm weapon. There are a total of 1,000 of these coins. The old man began to explain the legend he knew. At this point, a cultivator said, "A single coin can buy an emperor realm weapon? Who are you trying to fool? Who would believe you?" The cultivator was not the only one who did not believe it. Even Lin Feng did not believe it. However, the old man said, "You have to believe me. These coins have a very special effect." Special effect? Everyone looked at the old man in confusion. The ruler used an extremely ancient method to forge the coins. It's said that the coins can communicate with the legendary Supreme Celestial Court. There are many secrets hidden in the Supreme Celestial Court. Those who obtain the coins can communicate with the Supreme Celestial Court through the ancient coins, and their cultivation will grow stronger. Most importantly, the person who obtains the coins will be immortal. The old man said, "Damn, this is getting more and more ridiculous." Many people rolled their eyes. The old man's words were too shocking. No one dared to believe it. If it was true, it would overturn everyone's understanding. Lin Feng's expression turned solemn. The more he listened, the more he felt the matter was unbelievable. There was no need for the old man to lie. Lin Feng continued to ask. In other words, the ruler of Tushi Immortal Kingdom obtained immortality from then on? The old man nodded. Yes, he obtained immortality. However, because of this, he was envied by countless people. Thus, many experts joined forces to attack Tushi Immortal Kingdom. Although the Tushi Immortal Kingdom is powerful, how could it withstand the siege of so many experts? This once incomparably prosperous Tushi Immortal Kingdom was destroyed in this calamity, and the king of Tushi Immortal Kingdom escaped with the Tushi ancient coin. Unfortunately, the world is so big that there is no place for him to hide. Suddenly, another cultivator spoke up. Since the king of the Tushi Immortal Kingdom already possesses an immortal lifespan, why is he fleeing? The old man couldn't help but roll his eyes and say, "An immortal lifespan can indeed allow a person to live forever. However, it doesn't mean that others can't kill you. If no one kills you, you will naturally be able to live forever and retain your youth. However, if someone tries to kill you, you will still die." What happened next? What happened to the ruler of Tushi Immortal Kingdom? Lin Feng asked. Too many people were looking for him. He fled to many places and even asked for help from his old friends. However, they all wanted to kill him. It was truly a hopeless situation. In the end, he was surrounded by many experts. Chapter 1976. Naturally, the outcome was tragic. The emperor of the Tushi Immortal Kingdom was surrounded by countless experts. He had no hope of escaping. He was bathed in blood, and his blood dyed the sky red. He saw many people who had been drinking and chatting merrily with him in the past. Now, they were also trying to kill him. Don't blame us. We just wanted the Tushi coins. You shouldn't have forged the Tushi coins. Even if you did, you shouldn't have let others know about it. Cold voices rang out one after another. Many people were forced to come forward. I never thought that I, the Tushi Divine Emperor, would end up like this. Ha 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 ha. The emperor burst into laughter. Lin Feng and the others were startled. This old man was really good at telling stories. His body language and description were very vivid. It was as if he was really bringing Lin Feng and the others to an ancient era. Lin Feng and the others saw the Tushi Divine Emperor in his twilight years. So what if he had an immortal lifespan? In such a situation, nobody could escape death. The Tushi Divine Emperor took out a dagger. Then, he dug out his own heart. Many people felt their scalps go numb. What's the point of digging out his heart? Asked Lin Feng, puzzled. This method was too terrifying and cruel. The old man continued. The Tushi Divine Emperor wasn't a simple person. He knew many ancient techniques, such as the method to forge the Tushi coins. Of course, he also knew other ancient techniques. He once learned an ancient technique to communicate with the Grim Reaper. It was called the Death Curse. The death curse used one's own life as a sacrifice to communicate with the Grim Reaper. Then, it would activate the most evil curse. The Tushi Divine Emperor was in despair, so he dug out his own heart and sacrificed his own life. He used the death curse. Anyone who obtained the Tushi coins would die. If they didn't die, they would turn into dead creatures and step onto the cursed boat. They would never be able to leave the boat. The cursed boat? Lin Feng frowned. The word curse was too evil. Therefore, when he heard the word curse, he felt very uncomfortable. Powerful existences like the fire ravens, the coffin carriers, the heavenly masters, and so on, they had all been cursed. And the curses couldn't be resisted. Curses were the most mysterious powers in the world. It was enough to make one's expression change. Did all those people turn into undead creatures later on? Asked someone. The elder said, after the Tushi Divine Emperor died, countless experts started to fight over the Tushi ancient coins. This battle swept through the various worlds, and countless factions were destroyed and countless people died. Said Lin Feng. Could it be that the curse has manifested? Maybe it's because of the curse, or maybe it's because of human greed. But this catastrophe will come to an end one day. Now, the Tushi ancient coin will appear to welcome new members. Everyone was speechless. The old man continued, as for the deep-sea monster, it can sense who obtained the Tushi ancient coin. It can even sense where the person who obtained the Tushi ancient coin is. Therefore, I'm guessing that someone must have obtained the Tushi ancient coin and attracted the killing intent of the Tushi ancient coin. Perhaps, the Tushi ancient coin will appear soon. After saying that, the old man clasped his hands together and prayed again. Lin Feng frowned slightly. The content of this story was simply too shocking. Rumble, rumble. Suddenly, the ground shook. The entire island shook violently, and the cave began to collapse. Everyone was shocked and quickly rushed out of the cave. Many people rushed out of their hiding places. The island shook violently, and the mountains began to collapse. The island began to crack. On the surface of the sea, the storm was still raging. Screech. Suddenly, a sharp, ear-piercing cry came from the depths of the sea. What's that sound? Many people's expressions changed. The Tushi ancient coin. It must be the Tushi ancient coin, shouted the old man in horror. P.S. A friend created a fan group for Old Man 2. Group number 426393872. Old Man 2 is in it. Everyone, add him. Chapter 1977. Senior, please don't be an alarmist. You're scaring us to death. Many people looked at the old man with pale faces. Deep-sea monsters were legendary existences. Once they appeared, would they still be able to survive? Everyone had a look of deep fear on their faces. Who could stand against a creature like the deep-sea monster? However, the old man did not pay attention to anyone as he continued to pray. The storm on the sea grew stronger and stronger. More and more people escaped from the sea to the island. Lin Feng saw a woman in a black dress and could not help but feel apprehensive. The woman was hugging a sword with both hands. She was leaning against a rock wall with her eyes closed, seemingly asleep. He had noticed this woman before. She had taken shelter from the rain in the cave he was staying in. She's so careless, Lin Feng muttered. The storm raged, and huge waves surged. It was like the end of the world. More and more people escaped from the sea and landed on the island. Everyone stayed on the island and looked toward the sea, praying that the storm would calm down. Fortunately, the most terrifying storm did not sweep toward the island they were on. If it did, the island would be completely destroyed. Perhaps this was a blessing in disguise. At dawn, the storm finally dissipated. Everyone could finally heave a sigh of relief. Looks like my prayers last night were effective, the old man said as he stood up. Everyone secretly rolled their eyes at the old man. Was the storm something that could be resolved by praying? If praying could resolve it, all kinds of disasters would be solved by praying. That way, the disasters would disappear. Lin Feng sat down on a rock to rest. This night of being on tenterhooks was really too tiring. Damn it, to think that I would encounter something like this when I'm out at sea. What bad luck. Brother, be content. It's good enough that you're still alive. Look at how many people died in this storm. The power of nature is unimaginable. Many people lamented. The old man said, "What power of nature? It's the appearance of the deep-sea monster that caused such a huge commotion. Senior, since you said that the deep-sea monsters are here to find the person who obtained the Tushi ancient coins, why didn't they attack our island?" The old man said, "Maybe it's because the person who had the Tushi ancient coin was killed by the deep-sea monster in the sea, so we were lucky and avoided the disaster." Another person said with a smile, "But senior, you just said that it was all thanks to your prayers." The old man was refuted to the point that he was speechless. He couldn't help but snort coldly and walk away. Someone in the distance took out a glass bottle. It was a bottle with a space of its own, and it was half filled with seawater. An ancient ship that had shrunk countless times was floating in the sea. The cultivator opened the bottle and took out the ancient ship. Then, the ancient ship rapidly expanded. "Everyone can ride it for free. If there is any danger, we can take care of each other," the cultivator who took out the ancient ship said. Then, he boarded the ancient ship. Since the ancient ship was free of charge, the cultivators on the island were naturally overjoyed. Everyone boarded the ship one after another. Lin Feng and Wanyan Yang also boarded the ancient ship. Seeing that Lin Feng was frowning, Wanyan Yang asked, "Master, why are you frowning?" Lin Feng said, "I feel that yesterday's incident is very strange. It doesn't seem as simple as a simple storm on the sea." Wanyan Yang said, "Could it be that Master believes the old man's words?" Lin Feng said, "Nothing in this world is groundless. I don't know if the old man's story is true, but even if it isn't, I feel that yesterday's incident must be related to some unknown and terrifying existence." Amiba Buddha, good indeed, good indeed. Suddenly, a passing monk looked at Lin Feng and put his palms together. This was a young monk, but there were actually 9 rays of Buddhist light floating behind his head. It was truly extraordinary. This was a senior monk who had achieved the Tao. Many times, there would be some proud sons of the heavens who would have unimaginable achievements at such a young age. And such achievements would reach heights that others would never be able to reach in a short period of time. This monk was clearly such a person. "Greetings, Master. I am Lin Feng. How should I address you?" Lin Feng asked. "This little monk is called Ishio." The young monk said, "So it's Master Ishio. Nice to meet you." Lin Feng cupped his fists. Ishio said, "Benefactor is too polite." When I heard Benefactor mention yesterday's incident, this little monk also felt that it was strange, so I wanted to exchange my opinion with Benefactor. Lin Feng and Ishio discussed some of their opinions. Lin Feng also told Ishio the story he had heard from the old man, and Ishio also told Lin Feng a terrifying matter. When he had flown out of the sea, he had faintly seen something moving at the bottom of the sea. At that time, he had not dared to take a closer look and had quickly rushed to the island. After hearing Ishio's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but gasp. Could it be that something terrifying had really appeared? Ishio said. "Fortunately, everything has returned to normal." Lin Feng stroked his chin and said, I think it's time to return to normal. If it wanted to make a move on us, last night was a good opportunity." This was a dark world, a world of dead spirits. There was a long river that swept through the world. In the river, there were countless corpses, vengeful spirits, evil spirits, and malicious ghosts. Mournful cries could be heard. Hundreds of ghosts were crying. Those terrifying dead spirits wanted to rush out of the river, but they couldn't. This was the river of death. These dead spirits, they were destined to be trapped in the river forever. They would suffer endless pain. Whoosh! Suddenly, huge waves rose from the river. A pitch-black ancient ship covered in moss rushed out from the depths of the river. The undead creatures that had been sleeping on the ship woke up. "We've woken up? How many tens of thousands of years have we been sleeping? We've woken up again. Can we return to the world of the living?" Those dead spirits shouted excitedly. Their bodies were rotten and emitted a stench. It was extremely disgusting. Crack! Suddenly, the door on the second floor of the ancient ship was pushed open. A tall undead spirit walked out. The undead spirit held a bottle of wine in his hand. He laughed and said, "Little ones, What are you waiting for? Raise the flag. Raise the flag. Raise the flag. Raise the flag. Countless undead creatures roared. The flag of the ancient ship was raised. It was a skeleton flag, like a pirate flag. There were 4 words written on it. Ship of Curse. Ha 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 ha. Set sail. Return to the world of the living. The captain laughed heartily and gulped down the wine. However, the wine that he drank flowed out from his rotten body. Rumble. At the same time, the ship of Curse rode the wind and waves and rushed directly to an unknown place in the river of death. It disappeared into the endless darkness. Chapter 1978. Lin Feng, who was resting, suddenly had a slight change in expression. He had discovered that his great death art had started circulating on its own. What's going on? Lin Feng was puzzled. Demon Lord, my great death art has started circulating on its own. This is the first time something like this has happened. Could something have happened that I don't know about? Lin Feng said with a grave expression. Yao Jun said, the great art of death can communicate with the legendary river of death. So once the great art of death is used, it can summon the power of the underworld's river of death. Then, this power of death will condense into a river of death in the real world to fight against the enemy. You've cultivated the great art of death, so you can vaguely sense the river of death in the underworld. Could it be that something happened in the river of death in the underworld? Otherwise, why would the great death art start circulating on its own? Lin Feng smiled bitterly. The netherworld is a place where only the dead go. What could have happened there? The demon lord said, the netherworld is much scarier, more complicated, and more mysterious than you can imagine. That place has unimaginable living beings and countless secrets. Lin Feng nodded, suppressing the uneasiness in his heart. The ancient ship continued sailing. Lin Feng and Monkey Shio were chatting happily. While chatting with Monkey Shio on the deck, Lin Feng saw the black-dressed woman from before. This woman was tall and slender, and her face was also extremely beautiful. However, her small face had always been cold. As if sensing Lin Feng's gaze, she turned around and glared fiercely at Lin Feng. She said threateningly, "What are you looking at? Do you believe that I won't gouge your eyeballs out?" That temper. Lin Feng turned around and smiled bitterly. Monk Ishio said, "Wine is like immortal nectar, while women are like ill-fated relationships in the mortal world. That is why we should accompany ourselves with good wine and stay away from women. If ill-fated relationships continue, the path of cultivation will be very difficult." Lin Feng burst out laughing. Do monks drink wine too? Wine and meat pass through the intestines, but Buddha remains in the heart. With Buddha in the heart, so what if you have wine and meat in your hands? Lin Feng said with a smile, "It seems that Master's understanding of Buddhism has reached a point where it is beyond the reach of others." Monkey Shio said, "Patron, you flatter me." 3 days later, at noon, the sky had already darkened. Black clouds rolled. Lightning filled the sky. Lin Feng frowned. Is there going to be another storm? It's over. It's over. It must be a deep-sea monster. The old man said, his face pale. At this moment, Lin Feng noticed that the expression of the woman in the black dress had become uncertain. Lin Feng felt that the woman's demeanor was a bit strange. "You're still looking? Didn't I warn you? Do you believe that I won't hack you to death?" The woman pulled out her sword and was about to slash at Lin Feng. "Save me. She's trying to murder her husband." Lin Feng shouted. "Who told you to spout nonsense? I'll hack you to death." The woman swung her sword at Lin Feng. "I only glanced at you a few times, and you're already attacking me? Aren't you being too unreasonable?" Lin Feng shouted gloomily as he ran. "You're looking at me lecherously. Naturally, I'll hack you to death." The woman said coldly. "The hell? In all honesty, since when did I look at you lecherously?" This little girl was too sensitive. Lin Feng felt the urge to vomit blood. He ran outside while the woman chased after him with her sword. After running out of the cabin, he noticed that many people had gathered on the deck. Everyone was looking deep into the ship. Lin Feng pointed at the ship's depths. The woman who was chasing after him also stopped. She couldn't help but look into the depths. She saw black fog rolling in the depths. The black fog seemed to be connected to another world. That world was cold, sinister, and terrifying. It emanated an aura of death. Go, 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 the ship's master ordered. The cultivators controlling the ship quickly changed their course and rushed into the distance. It's getting more and more sinister. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He noticed that the woman had put away her sword and was walking into the cabin. Lin Feng rubbed his chin thoughtfully. The deep-sea monsters must be coming. I don't care about you guys anymore. I'm leaving. I can't stay on this ship anymore. The old man said. He flew into the distance. Is that old man scared out of his wits? Someone muttered. They felt that the old man was completely immersed in his story and couldn't extricate himself. Suddenly, a wretched cry rang out from afar. A swarm of black-colored flying insects flew out from the black fog to wrap around the old man. In an instant, the old man was reduced to a pile of white bones. What the hell is that? Many people felt their scalps go numb. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The black fog is coming, many people shouted. The ship's speed was pushed to the limit. It quickly rushed into the distance. An hour later, in the black fog, an ancient ship rushed out. Ha 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 ha, we're out. An earth-shaking roar came from the ancient ship. It was countless undead creatures. The aura of the Yang world is so good. We used to live in the Yang world, but now we have to suffer in the Yang world. It feels so good to be able to return to the Yang world. I don't want to go back to that damned place in the Yang world anymore. Many undead creatures roared in excitement. Then, the rotten bodies of these undead creatures began to return to normal. It didn't take long for them to become normal people again. Hey, how did our bodies recover? Many undead creatures shouted in disbelief. It's the captain. It must be the captain. It's said that the captain is comprehending the Great Fate technique. Could it be that the captain has already comprehended the Great Fate technique? He can actually turn us into normal people? An undead creature shouted in shock. At this time, the captain walked out. The captain became a burly middle-aged man. The recovery of the body is only temporary. The curse of the ship of curse can't be broken. Unless you can really comprehend the Great Fate technique, you can't break the curse. However, it's not that easy to comprehend the Great Fate technique. Now, let's go and catch the person who has the Tushi ancient coin. Let's add a new member to our ship of curse. The captain shouted loudly. Catch that person. Catch that person. Let him have the same miserable fate as us. All the people on the boat of curse roared. Around the ship of curse, the seawater churned violently. In the depths of the sea, there seemed to be a huge monster slowly emerging from the water. Chapter 1979. A storm raged, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. It was still daytime, but it was as dark as night. Dark clouds rolled, causing one's heart to tremble. Lin Feng stood on the deck. At this moment, the restrictions on the ship had been lifted, so there was no need to worry about being drenched by the rain. Looks like I'll have to perform a divination, Monkey Shio said. Lin Feng could not help but ask, aren't you a monk? You actually know how to perform divination? Monkey Shio pressed his palms together and said, Buddha says that it's never too old to learn. Lin Feng was speechless. Did Buddha say that? Monkey Shio was also a weirdo. Monkey Shio took out 3 tortoise shells and a jade tube. He put the tortoise shells into the jade tube. Lin Feng said in shock, is this the Hotion 64 trigrams divination technique? Monkey Shio said in surprise, Benefactor Lin knows this divination technique as well? The most popular technique in the world of cultivators was the Xiantian 8 trigrams technique. Of course, the various sects were mainly Taoists. Their divination techniques were mostly derived from the Xiantian 8 trigrams. In fact, the Celestial Master sect's inheritance also had extremely profound divination techniques. However, Lin Feng had only obtained a very small portion of the Celestial Master sect's inheritance. Therefore, Lin Feng had not been able to learn the divination techniques, but he still had some understanding of the various divination techniques. Among the various divination techniques, the truly powerful one was the Hotion 64 trigrams. In the past, Princess Trigram FA had used the Xiantian 8 trigrams as a foundation and evolved it into the Hotian 64 trigrams. GFA's evolution of the Xiantian 8 trigrams into the Hotian 64 trigrams had simply created an era. However, he died very early, so his Hotian 64 trigrams had not been popularized. Those who knew the Hotian 64 trigrams were too rare. As time passed, it was almost impossible to find cultivators who knew the Hotian 64 trigrams. Monk Ishio was indeed knowledgeable. He actually knew the divination techniques recorded in the Hotian 64 trigrams. Lin Feng said, "I've heard of the 64 Hotian hexagram, and I've read some introductions about it. This is an ancient technique that I obtained by chance. However, even after studying it for many years, I've only scratched the surface of it. Emperor GFA's post-celestial hexagram is too mysterious," Monk Ishio said. Lin Feng replied, "Even if I've only scratched the surface, I'm sure it's still incredibly mysterious." Monk Ishio smiled and didn't say anything else. He began to perform divination. He held the jade tube with both hands and shook it. Then, he kept chanting all kinds of incantations. These incantations were very ancient and mysterious. Lin Feng didn't understand the contents of these incantations. Seeing Monk Ishio performing divination here, many people surrounded him. Walala! Suddenly, Monk Ishio took out the tortoiseshell from the jade tube. He glanced at the 3 pieces of tortoiseshell and was so scared that his face turned pale and he sat down on the ground. "What? Is the divination not good?" Lin Feng asked in a deep voice. "It's wrong. It must be wrong. Let me do it again." Monk Ishio gritted his teeth and took out 2 more pieces of tortoiseshell. Using tortoiseshell to perform divination was very particular. The more tortoiseshell one used, the more accurate the divination would be. However, it didn't mean that one could use as many as they wanted. If one's cultivation wasn't high enough and forcefully used more tortoiseshell to perform divination, they would suffer a severe backlash. At that time, they might even go berserk and die. Under normal circumstances, Monk Ishio could use 3 pieces of tortoiseshell to perform divination. This way, his body wouldn't be damaged. However, Monk Ishio's divination with 3 pieces of tortoiseshell seemed to be inaccurate. Lin Feng guessed that this kind of divination definitely wasn't a good one. So Monk Ishio took out 2 more pieces of tortoiseshell. This was his limit. Monk Ishio placed 5 pieces of tortoiseshell into the jade tube. Then, he held the jade tube with both hands and began to shake it. At the same time, he kept chanting, "A monk's divination? Is it reliable?" Someone muttered. It seemed that they didn't trust Monk Ishio's divination skills. Regardless of whether others believed it or not, Lin Feng trusted Monk Ishio quite a bit. Monk Ishio's divination with 5 pieces of tortoiseshell was indeed met with a backlash. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. "Stop it," Lin Feng said in a deep voice. He and Monk Ishio hit it off quite well. Although they had only known each other for a short period of time, the 2 of them could be considered good friends. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't wish to see Monk Ishio get seriously injured because of divination. Moreover, there were still some people around who were making sarcastic remarks. This made Lin Feng very unhappy. "It's fine," Monk Ishio said. He didn't intend to give up. He chanted another incantation and spat out another 2 mouthfuls of blood. He had finally completed his divination. Walala! 5 pieces of tortoiseshell fell from the jade tube onto the ground and were scattered all over the place. Among the crowd, there were people who had some understanding of divination. When they saw how messy the divination was, their expressions changed. "Such a messy divination. I'm afraid it's inauspicious," the cultivator said in a deep voice. Lin Feng also had some understanding of divination. The more scattered the divination, the more inauspicious it was. "Master, what does the divination say?" someone asked. "Dark clouds cover the sun. Darkness descends, the universe reverses, the dead spirits reappear." Monk Ishio said 16 words. "Master, what does that mean? Can you be more specific?" Many people didn't understand. "It means, good luck to all of you," Monk Ishio said with a bitter smile. "Damn, how can you say that? Can't you say something nice?" "I've already said it. Can a monk's divination be reliable?" Many people looked at each other coldly. Lin Feng had already guessed this situation. Everyone wanted to hear something nice. Therefore, it was very easy to offend people when speaking the truth. Therefore, what Monk Ishio did was a thankless task. Get lost. Lin Feng looked coldly at these cultivators. F*CK. Who do you think you are? Are you looking for a beating? Many people looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said coldly, teach them a lesson. Wanyan Yang stepped forward, emitting a powerful aura. Many people felt the terrifying aura in Wanyan Yang's body and were so frightened that their faces turned pale. They didn't dare to say anything and quickly retreated. Lin Feng stood at the side to guard Monk Ishio. He had suffered a backlash and was adjusting his body. If he didn't treat it in time, it would cause serious damage to his body. Rumble. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. What happened? Many people's expressions changed. Many cultivators in the cabins rushed out. Bang! The next moment, the ship shook again. Something seemed to be hitting the ship at the bottom of the sea. Chapter 1980. Monk Ishio opened his eyes, but his face was still pale. He had suffered a backlash and needed to recuperate. He wouldn't recover so quickly. How do you feel? Lin Feng asked. Much better. Monk Ishio said. Master, the situation doesn't seem good. Should we leave this ancient ship? Wanyan Yang said. Let's wait for a while. If we leave now, we'll be the first to stick our neck out. The first to die will definitely be the first to move. Lin Feng said. Okay. Wanyan Yang nodded. Rumble. The ship shook again, this time even more violently than before. Hurry up and rush out. Many people shouted anxiously. But soon, a terrified voice came from the control room. The ship can't move. As expected. At this moment, everyone realized that the ship really couldn't move. It was as if something was sucking the ancient ship, making the ancient ship unable to move even a single step. Many people were pale with fright. Hurry up and leave the ancient ship. Many cultivators shouted as they rushed into the distance. But just as they flew out, suddenly, in the sea, a powerful devouring force was emitted. A huge whirlpool appeared in the sea. It was this whirlpool. It emitted a powerful devouring force. All the cultivators who rushed out of the ancient ship, they were all devoured by the huge whirlpool. After seeing this scene, many people were so scared that their faces turned pale. There were many powerful cultivators among those cultivators, but they died without even causing a ripple. It was truly hair-raising. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, something started to violently hit the bottom of the ship. It's leaking. The ship is leaking. Soon, someone in the cabin shouted in horror. Whoosh! A huge tentacle reached out from the sea. It was at least 1,000 meters tall. Then, it fell from the sky and smashed towards the ancient ship. The tentacle was as black as ink, and if one looked carefully, there were sharp barbs at the end of the tentacle. The tentacle looked like the tail of a scorpion. Hurry up and dodge. Seeing the huge tentacle smashing down, many people screamed in horror. Then, everyone hurriedly dodged. Bang! But when the huge tentacle smashed onto the ancient ship, many people were still smashed into meat paste. They died on the spot. Heavens, what is that? Lin Feng saw the thick tentacle and felt his scalp go numb. The tentacle was actually covered with densely packed poisonous snakes. The tails of the poisonous snakes and the tentacles. Each poisonous snake was at least 3 to 4 meters long. Some of the poisonous snakes were longer. Some were even 7 meters long. These venomous snakes opened their bloody mouths and bit at the cultivators. Ah! Screams rang out one after another. Many people had their heads bitten off by the poisonous snakes on the spot. There were also many people who were bitten by the venomous snakes and screamed in agony. Slash! Slash slash! Lin Feng was holding his black dragon sword and was about to kill the snake. Slash! Slash slash! One by one, the heads of the poisonous snakes were chopped off by Lin Feng. Many people were attacking the huge tentacle, and the tentacle suddenly swung. Bang bang bang! Many cultivators were directly whipped to death. Behind, Wanyan Yang roared. Lin Feng was shocked and turned to look. He saw a second huge tentacle falling from the sky. The second tentacle was also covered with densely packed poisonous snakes. He didn't know what kind of creature was at the bottom of the sea. The tentacle was like the tail of a scorpion, and it was densely packed with poisonous snakes. He had never seen such a creature before, even if he had never heard of it. He quickly moved to the left. Bang! The next moment, the huge tentacle smashed down. Many cultivators were directly smashed into meat paste. Lin Feng narrowly avoided the huge tentacle smashing down like a mountain. Run! Many people rushed out. They wanted to run for their lives. Splash, splash! Something even more terrifying happened. Densely packed tentacles stretched out from the sea. Then, those tentacles whipped towards the cultivators who were running away. Many cultivators were whipped into meat paste on the spot. How many tentacles does it have? Seeing those densely packed tentacles, Lin Feng's face was full of shock. Even if it was an octopus monster, it didn't have so many tentacles. This monster had too many tentacles. The densely packed tentacles seemed to cover the sky. They smashed towards the ship. Get on the ship and break out. Lin Feng took out the Xinyuan ancient ship and shouted. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Lin Feng, Wan Yang, and Monk Yishio rushed onto the ancient ship one after another. Then, the Xinyuan ancient ship quickly rushed out. Huge tentacles shot towards the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Fire! Lin Feng shouted and gave the order. Boom, 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 boom. A dense barrage of spirit stone shells flew out and bombarded those tentacles. Those tentacles were bombarded and bloody. Screech! The unknown terrifying creature hidden in the sea let out a painful roar. More tentacles smashed towards the Xinyuan ancient ship. Seeing those huge tentacles covering the sky, Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb. However, he had seen many storms. He could still remain calm. Lin Feng activated the Emperor's Mark. The Xinyuan ancient ship directly slammed into those tentacles. The Emperor's Mark swept towards the tentacles. Puff! Many tentacles were torn apart by the Emperor's Mark and black blood gushed out. A gap finally appeared in the tentacles that sealed the world. That ancient ship is about to escape. Quick, let's go. Many cultivators saw that the Xinyuan ancient starry sky vessel was about to break out of the encirclement and quickly rushed towards the Xinyuan ancient starry sky vessel. They wanted to board the Xinyuan ancient ship to escape danger. However, they were attacked by those huge tentacles and many people died tragically. Only the black-robed woman managed to escape to Lin Feng. However, the Xinyuan ancient ship was protected by restrictions and she couldn't enter. The black-robed woman cried out anxiously. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the black-robed woman and immediately opened the restrictions. Let this woman in. Bang, bang, bang. The dense spirit stone shells and the Emperor's Mark finally blew up a huge tentacle. Swoosh! The Xinyuan ancient ship turned into a stream of light and quickly rushed out. Lin Feng looked in the direction of the ship. A dense mass of tentacles wrapped around the entire huge ship. In the sea, huge waves surged. The gigantic ship was connected to all the cultivators. They were all dragged into the sea in an instant. It was too tragic. Swoosh! The Xinyuan ancient ship didn't dare to stop and raised its speed to the limit. It turned into a stream of light. It rushed into the distance. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1981. Inside the cabin, the deity realm clone controlled the ancient ship, Xinyuan, to travel at high speed. Lin Feng frowned slightly and said, "Could that monster be the deep-sea monster that the old man mentioned?" Monk Yishio's expression changed. The reason for that was because the story told by that old man was simply too legendary. It was very difficult for them to believe it. However, a monster had appeared out of nowhere. It was so terrifying. What was it? Monk Yishio could not figure it out. I'm not sure. The only fortunate thing is that we managed to get rid of that damnable monster. However, the sad thing is that so many people died. Monk Yishio sighed. He was a Buddhist. He was compassionate and bemoaned the state of the universe. That was why he had seen so many people die. His heart was filled with grief. Monk Yishio sat down cross-legged and began to chant sutras for the dead. Lin Feng walked out with Wan Yang. When he saw the black-dressed woman on the deck, he smiled and said, Why are you chasing me so closely? Are you plotting something against me? Let me tell you, I'm a decent man. After seeing Lin Feng, the black-dressed woman glared at Lin Feng. She had no intention of thanking him. Instead, she pulled out her treasured sword and said fiercely, "If I knew this ship was yours, I wouldn't have boarded it even if I had to die in the hands of that monster." Lin Feng smiled and said, "You have a treasured sword in your hand. It's not too late to die now. Let me teach you. Hold the sword hilt with your right hand and place it on your neck. Then, exert force with your wrist. With just a little bit of strength, I'll be able to burn paper money for you. Before I die, I'll kill you first." The black-dressed woman swung her treasured sword at Lin Feng. Lin Feng dodged and shouted, "Is there any justice in this world? I saved you, and this is how you repay your savior?" "Humph." The black-dressed woman snorted coldly and put away her treasured sword. Then, she said, "Help me clean up a room. I want to rest." Lin Feng said, "There are plenty of rooms. You can choose whatever you want." The woman in the black dress pulled out her sword and shouted, "I asked you to help me clean up. Didn't you hear me? Hurry up and go." He raised his sword and was about to chop down. Lin Feng wanted to cry but had no tears. This is the young master's ancient ship. Why was he being bullied to this extent? Because you're a beauty. I, your young master, will endure. A good man doesn't fight with a woman. Lin Feng helped the woman clean up a room and then quickly left the room. God knows if he would have been chopped off by this woman if he had been a step slower. At this moment, Monkey Xiao had also finished ferrying the souls of the dead cultivators. He walked out and said, "Femme fatale, femme fatale." Lin Feng asked, "What do you mean?" "To tell you the truth, almsgiver Lin. I think almsgiver Lin is destined for a calamity of romance." Monkey Xiao said, "Having good luck with women was a good thing. Naturally, a peach blossom calamity was not a good thing." Lin Feng said angrily, "Can't you hope for something better?" Monk Ishio said, "I came to this conclusion after looking at your face." Lin Feng was speechless. "Bro, you're a monk. You don't recite scriptures or Buddhist scriptures. All you do is study Taoist divination techniques and read people's faces. Isn't this too much of an occupation?" Although Lin Feng felt apprehensive, Monk Ishio was still very capable. Lin Feng asked, "How do you explain this peach blossom calamity?" Monk Ishio said, "There are only 4 people on this ship, 3 men and 1 woman. Isn't it obvious how you explain the peach blossom calamity?" "Are you talking about that tigress?" Lin Feng rubbed his chin and said softly, "People say that a woman with a good figure will bring luck to her husband. Although that tigress has a bad temper, she's definitely bringing luck to her husband no matter how you look at it." Lin Feng had some reservations about the woman in the black dress. However, he still looked at the figure of the woman in the black dress with an appreciative gaze. Even with his picky eyes, the woman in the black dress could be considered a top-grade product. Moreover, she was a typical peach blossom calamity. Monk Ishio said, "A peach blossom calamity doesn't necessarily bring luck to her husband. If she wants to trick you, you can't do anything about it. Chasing her off the ship now is the best way." "Is that a good idea?" Lin Feng asked. "Isn't that too ungentlemanly?" He continued to mutter, "The peach blossom calamity is coming. What's the point of being gentlemanly? Can gentlemanly be used as a meal?" Monk Ishio said. Monk Ishio was a kind person. If the problem hadn't worsened, he wouldn't have said that. Of course, he wouldn't have said such things. Lin Feng said, "Since there's no danger now, it's fine to let her go down early. I'll go to her room and tell her about this." Monk Ishio nodded and patted Lin Feng's shoulder. Lin Feng went to the woman in the black dress room and knocked on the door. "Are you asleep?" "No. I have something to talk to you about." "Speak outside." Lin Feng rolled his eyes. "This is my ancient ship. I can go wherever I want." He said, "I want to talk inside." "Come in, then." Lin Feng pushed the door open and entered. As soon as he entered the room, a delicate figure pressed against him. The woman in the black dress hugged Lin Feng. "This isn't good, right? We don't know each other yet. Aren't we developing too quickly?" Lin Feng said. This woman's attitude made him a little confused. Earlier, she had wanted to hack him with her sword. Now, She was throwing herself at him. Lin Feng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Beauty, can you not be cold to me one moment and gentle to me the next? I can't guess what you're thinking. In the vast sea of people, I'm all alone. Sometimes, I'll feel empty, lonely, and cold. I don't ask for everlasting love. I just want to be with you for a while. The woman in the black dress said. Lin Feng became excited. What did she mean? Could it be that she wanted to be with him? This wasn't a peach blossom calamity. This was clearly his luck with women. Brother monk, you've miscalculated. Lin Feng pinched the woman's delicate chin. Looking at her delicate face, the more he looked at it, the more beautiful it seemed. Then, he slowly lowered his head and kissed her red lips. Unexpectedly, the woman in the black dress sent him flying with a slap. Bang! Lin Feng's body slammed into the cabin. What's going on? What's the meaning of this? Lin Feng was still confused. The woman in the black dress had already charged over with her sword. Stinking pervert, I'll kill you. Lin Feng wanted to cry. Tigress, you're the one who seduced me. Now, you're calling me a pervert. Don't be unreasonable. Lin Feng ran outside. After the woman in the black dress chased him outside, she glared at Lin Feng and said, I'll spare you this time, but don't let me see you again. After saying that, the woman in the black dress soared into the sky and flew away. Damn, what bad luck. What a calamity. Lin Feng shouted gloomily. It's good that she's gone, Monkey Shio said. 6 hours later, on the sea that was originally clear and boundless, suddenly, dark clouds rolled. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In the sea, waves rose to the sky. Seeing this scene, the expressions of Lin Feng and the others changed greatly. That mysterious monster is here, Yi Futian muttered. P.S. Archaic Dragonesque Elephant Technique Group Number 426393872. Those who haven't joined the group, please add. There are cute girls and little fresh meats in the group. There's bound to be one that suits you. Chapter 1982. How could this be? Why is that monster chasing after us? Could it be that it doesn't want to let any of the people who appeared on that ship off? Lin Feng's face was grim. The fact that the monster was chasing after them was something that had him bewildered. Monk Ishio frowned. We're in trouble now that we've been targeted by the monster. We've got to get rid of it as soon as possible. Yes. Lin Feng nodded his head. He then ordered his God State clone to push the speed of the Xinyuan ship to its maximum. Shoo! The Xinyuan ship turned into a streak of light and shot off into the distance. But no matter how fast they were, the skies above them were filled with thunder and lightning. Dark clouds were rumbling, and torrential rain was pouring down. This meant that they had not been able to get rid of the monster. Why was the monster chasing after them? Lin Feng could not figure it out. But now was not the time to be thinking about it. The most important thing right now was to get rid of the monster as soon as possible. Lin Feng activated the ability of the ancient ship to traverse through the void, wanting to leave this place immediately. But Lin Feng soon realized that the void around them had been sealed. The Xinyuan ship could fly and even sail through the seas, but there was no way for it to traverse through the void. This is bad. Lin Feng's face turned grim. He had to get ready for battle now. Splash! Splash! Suddenly, a tentacle burst out from the depths of the sea. Waves surged into the skies as they rumbled furiously. That gigantic tentacle slammed down at the Xinyuan ship viciously. The mountain-like tentacle slammed down, as though the void was about to be torn apart. Fire the cannons! Lin Feng bellowed out as the spirit stone cannon focused its firepower on that gigantic tentacle. A dense cluster of spirit stone cannons. It was as though they could blast a hole in the heavens and earth. Bam! Bam! After the spirit stone cannons exploded, the gigantic tentacle was blasted into a bloody mess. Screech! The monster in the depths of the sea roared out in rage. Splash! 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 Then, an even more terrifying scene appeared. Tentacles stretched out one after another. As far as the eye could see, the ancient ship was surrounded by giant tentacles. They surrounded the area in all directions. Rumble! Suddenly, The ancient ship shook violently. Monk Ishio said in a deep voice, "I'm afraid the ancient ship has been sucked in by the gigantic monster." The previous ship was sucked in by the gigantic monster and was unable to move before it was devoured. "Launch torpedo shells," Lin Feng ordered with a gloomy expression. The torpedo shells were also refined by alchemists. This kind of torpedo shell was even more precious. Ordinary ancient ships couldn't afford such a precious torpedo shell. But for Lin Feng, this amount of money was naturally nothing. Countless torpedo shells were released by the humanoid puppet. Bang, bang, bang. Below, the torpedo shells began to explode. Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, the spirit stone cannons also fired a dense number of spirit stone cannons at the huge tentacles that were smashing towards them. Lin Feng also activated the Emperor Rune. It swept towards the tentacles. Boom, boom, boom. Under the sea, torpedo shells exploded. Waves of 10,000 feet high were blasted into the sky. Screech. Immediately after, an angry roar resounded throughout the world. This gigantic monster had obviously been injured, but the damage it had suffered was much less than Lin Feng had imagined. Moreover, the damage the monster's tentacles had suffered was also much less than Lin Feng had imagined. This monster's defensive power was so strong that even Lin Feng felt it was inconceivable. Bang, bang, bang. The monster's tentacles ruthlessly smashed towards the Xianyuan ancient ship. When the mountain-like tentacles came crashing down, Zhang Xian was stunned. The Emperor Rune of the Xianyuan ancient ship swept towards these tentacles and tore them apart. Black blood with a foul smell flowed out. It emitted a foul smell. After smelling that foul smell, Lin Feng felt dizzy. Not good. The monster's blood contains a highly toxic poison. He quickly took out the white jade toad and let it detoxify the poison for the three of them. After the poison was detoxified, Lin Feng and the other two quickly sealed their six senses. At this time, clumps of black qi suddenly spread out from the huge tentacles. The black qi wrapped around the huge tentacles. Those tentacles wrapped around the Xianyuan ancient ship. A terrifying scene unfolded. When the Emperor Rune of the Xianyuan ancient ship swept across the tentacles, the black qi dissolved it. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces turned pale with shock. Wasn't this too terrifying? It was simply unheard of and hard to believe. The tentacles that resisted the Emperor Rune's attack completely wrapped around the Xianyuan ancient ship. The monster wants to drag us to the bottom of the sea. Monk Ishio's face changed. The huge ship from before had been dragged down like this. The ship fell silent, and all the cultivators died tragically. Now, this monster wanted to use the same method to destroy the Xianyuan ancient ship. Although they knew what this monster wanted to do, Lin Feng and the other two couldn't think of a way to deal with this monster. That was because this giant monster was simply too powerful. It was so powerful that it made people despair. A giant God Realm expert had come. Most likely, only death awaited them. Could this fellow really be one of the legendary deep-sea monsters? Lin Feng thought of the story that the old man had told him. At this moment, Monk Ishio and Wanyan Yang were increasingly convinced that the story was true. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt his abdomen heating up. Puzzled, he put his hand into his clothes. What's this? Lin Feng clearly felt that he had touched something. He took it out and found that it was a gold coin. The front of this gold coin had the image of an ancient immortal country, while the back had the image of many small people offering sacrifices. Heavens, could it be? Could it be? Lin Feng's eyes widened, and he shouted in disbelief, "That story is true. This is the Tushi ancient coin. That tigress secretly gave it to me." Lin Feng thought of the scene where that tigress had uncharacteristically hugged him. Clearly, she had given it to him at that time. Thinking of this, Lin Feng wanted to cry but had no tears. A peach blossom calamity, Monk Ishio said with a wry smile. Originally, he had thought that Lin Feng's peach blossom calamity would disappear after the black-robed woman left. He hadn't expected that the black-robed woman would make a fool out of him. Lin Feng wanted to throw the Tushi ancient coin away. Suddenly, the coin turned into a diagram and branded itself on his arm. At the same time, the deep-sea monster issued a sharp and ear-piercing cry. Bang! A powerful force came pouring down from the sky. The The Xinyuan ancient ship was directly dragged into the water by the deep-sea monster. The sea surface, which had been surging with huge waves, instantly quieted down. Chapter 1983. Now that the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was being dragged down, the situation was extremely bad. Lin Feng's expression turned extremely ugly. If they couldn't find a way to break free from the deep-sea monster, they would definitely die this time. At this moment, they finally saw what kind of creature the deep-sea monster was. This deep-sea monster had a head like a spider, a body like a giant squid, and tentacles like a scorpion's tail. They didn't know how many tentacles there were. Lin Feng had never seen such an ugly, ferocious beast. It was like a beast from hell. What do we do now? Monkey Xiu asked. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. He didn't have a good way to deal with this deep-sea monster. However, he didn't wait for death. He ordered the humanoid puppet to release all the torpedoes and shells. At the same time, all the spirit stone cannons continued to fire spirit stone shells at the deep-sea monster. The ancient ship's emperor runes were still activated, emitting a destructive power. These emperor runes continued to attack the deep-sea monster. Lin Feng brought out the 9 demons diagram, revered sword tomb, and purple lightning hammer to attack the deep-sea monster. He was doing 3 things at once. This was his limit. Monkey Xiu also brought out his treasure. It was a demon-subduing staff. It swept lightly. It could shatter the void. Its power was incomparably strong. Wanyan Yang also brought out his giant divine weapon, the god-slaying axe, and slashed at the tentacles entangling the ancient ship. Powerful axe lights slashed out one after another. Lin Feng and the other 2 brought out their magic treasures and coordinated with the Emperor runes to launch their strongest attacks against the deep-sea monster. However, the black fog surrounding the deep-sea monster was too terrifying. The black fog actually blocked the Emperor runes and the attacks of Lin Feng and the others. This made their expressions extremely unsightly. Moreover, venom flowed out from the tentacles and began to corrode the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship's defensive restrictions. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship's defensive restrictions also began to crack. After seeing this, Lin Feng and the other 2's expressions changed greatly. When the restrictions completely cracked open, at that time, only death would await them. However, in the face of the deep-sea monster's attacks, they simply didn't have the strength to resist. Crack, crack. The restrictions continued to crack open. Even the most optimistic people couldn't help but despair. Lin Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. If he were to die here, he would not be able to accept it. Shua. At this extremely dangerous moment, suddenly, a beam of sword chi flew over from above. Pooh! The sword chi directly slashed at the giant tentacle of the deep-sea monster that was as huge as a mountain. The monster's tentacles with heaven-defying defense was instantly torn. Moreover, the sword chi did not dissipate even after cutting off one of the tentacles. After cutting off more than a dozen tentacles, the sword chi finally dissipated. What a powerful sword chi! The Xinyuan ancient starsky ships was ancient emperor sky ship, emperor ancient starry sky ship. Shriek. The shriek dragon sky ship sky, ancient Xinyuan ancient sky. Sky starry was sent. Li Feng, sky Tian sky. The monster was infuriated. It didn't even care about Lin Feng and the others anymore. Lin Feng and the Xinyuan ancient starsky ship's faces lit up. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship immediately rushed towards the sea. Soon, the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship returned to the sea. The Red World Fairy. Lin Feng looked at the woman floating in the air in surprise. She was delicate and charming, looking like a 16 or 17-year-old girl. There were bells tied to her snow-white ankles and wrists. Whenever venerable red dust moved slightly, the 4 bells would let out a clear and crisp sound of collision. She is the Red World Fairy? Monkey Xiu was obviously very surprised. Wanyan Yang was also very shocked. The Red World Fairy, the #1 expert in 9 prefectures. Who didn't know her? Who didn't know her? They had never imagined that venerable Hong Chun was actually a young girl who looked only 16 or 17 years old. Lin Feng nodded with a wry smile. When he first saw the Red World Fairy, he was also very surprised. She looked exactly the same as Monkey Xiao and Wanyan Yang. Just now, it was obvious that the Red World Fairy had slashed out a sword chi. It had injured the deep-sea monster. Therefore, it had angered the deep-sea monster. Now, after the deep-sea monster rushed out, numerous tentacles smashed towards the Red World Fairy. It was like a huge mountain was smashing towards the Red World Fairy. Facing the deep-sea monster's attack, the Red World Fairy raised her right hand. She gently moved her hand in the air. Every time she moved her hand, then a powerful sword chi would fly out. It slashed towards the tentacles, smashing towards her. Puff, 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 puff. Each sword chi could cut off a dozen tentacles. Half of the tentacles that had been cut off fell to the ground, and blood immediately gushed out from them. Too powerful. The Red World Fairy is really too powerful. Lin Feng and the other two were deeply shocked. Of course, after all, Lin Feng had seen the Red World Fairy fight before. Therefore, when he saw the Red World Fairy fight again, he was shocked. But soon, he calmed down a lot. Monkey Xiao and Wanyan Yang couldn't calm down for a long time. The combat power that the Red World Fairy had shown, their hearts were deeply shaken. But soon, they discovered another thing that made them turn pale with fright. The severed tentacles of the deep-sea monster were actually regenerated in a very short time. Oh my god, what ability is this? Lin Feng and the others looked at each other. Even if its body was cut off, it could be regenerated in a short time. This ability was too heaven-defying. It had such a heaven-defying ability. The deep-sea monster was almost impossible to kill. Even senior immortal Hong Chun furrowed her brows slightly. How many lives have been buried in that endless darkness? That pitch-black night will swallow the starry sky. I will banish you into that endless darkness. I will let you die in loneliness. The Red World Fairy's voice resounded between heaven and earth. As her voice faded away, a world of darkness appeared. That world of darkness. It directly enveloped the deep-sea monster. No one knew what kind of place that world of darkness was. The only thing they knew was that it was definitely not the 9 provinces' great world. The deep-sea monster was very difficult to kill. So, the Red World Fairy wanted to banish the deep-sea monster directly into that world of darkness. The Red World Fairy wanted to trap the deep-sea monster in that world of darkness. The darkness descended and began to devour the deep-sea monster. The deep-sea monster roared and kept struggling. However, the Red World Fairy's supernatural power was too powerful. The deep-sea monster couldn't break free at all. Its huge body was being devoured by the world of darkness bit by bit. She is really too strong. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng and the others couldn't help but feel their blood boiling. The Red World Fairy's strength made them very envious. She was indeed the strongest person in the 9 provinces' great world. She was really too heaven-defying. The deep-sea monster was about to be banished into that world of darkness by the Red World Fairy. Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound resounded through the sky. Then, a pitch-black ancient ship came through the void and crashed into that world of darkness. That world of darkness was directly smashed into pieces, and the deep-sea monster broke free. Chapter 1984. The pitch-black ancient ship exuded a demonic luster. This ancient ship was so powerful that it even shattered the dark world condensed by the Red World Fairy. The warship was surrounded by black fog. A large number of cultivators walked out of the cabin. This woman is so powerful. Even the deep-sea monster was almost exiled by her. What are you afraid of? No matter how powerful she is, she can't be more powerful than our captain. That's right. Our captain is the invincible one. Many people on the boat of curse shouted. These people's bodies had returned to the appearance of human beings. His body was no longer that of a rotting corpse. The boat of curse. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Deep-sea monster. Tushi ancient coin. Now, even the boat of curse had appeared. The story told by the old man was true. Previously, Lin Feng only guessed that the ancient coin given to him by the woman in the black dress was the Tushi ancient coin. But now, he was basically sure. This ancient coin. It was the cursed Tushi ancient coin in the legend. Lin Feng really wanted to cry but had no tears. He was about to be killed by the woman in the black dress. Monkey Xiao and Wanyan Yang also looked solemn. The legend had become a fact. The impact on their hearts was very strong. However, there was one question that had always puzzled Lin Feng. That was, why did the Red World Fairy appear here? Did she pass by occasionally? Did she save him? Lin Feng didn't know what was going on. But for the Red World Fairy, he was extremely grateful. Everyone has their own mission in this world, and we are following the arrangement of fate to take away the people who should be taken away. The captain of the boat of curse said, "The creatures in the world of the living should live in the world of the living, and the creatures in the world of the underworld should live in the world of the underworld. When yin and yang are reversed, the universe is reversed, and the order is disrupted." The Red World Fairy said. The captain of the boat of curse said again, "We are people who can travel between the two worlds of the living and the dead. The order of heaven and earth is useless to us." The undead creatures on the boat of curse who were venting their anger looked at each other. What was going on? Why is the captain chatting with this human woman? This was not the captain's character. The captain loved to crush everything in his way, like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Unless this woman made the captain feel that she was difficult to deal with. Cursed life forms should sleep forever. Only then will they suffer less. The Red World Fairy said. The captain of the cursed boat strangely laughed. The cursed boat hasn't had a new crew member in a long time. We need to find new members and have them join us so that they can suffer the same pain as us. The Red World Fairy asked calmly, "Is this your goal?" The captain of the boat of curse said, "This is our mission. Even though we are cursed now, we still want to wake up and take a look at the world of the living. We want to remind ourselves not to forget how wonderful it is to be alive. Sooner or later, we'll be back to normal." The Red World Fairy said faintly, "Now you should be looking for a way to break the curse, not staying here." The captain of the cursed boat's face became gloomy, and he said coldly, "It seems that you are sincerely trying to stop me from taking away the new crew members. Today, this captain would like to experience your divine ability." As soon as he finished speaking, the captain of the cursed boat stepped out. He actually walked out of the cursed boat. It was said that any living being who boarded the cursed boat, they would all turn into undead. And these undead would never be able to leave the cursed boat. Obviously, this saying, it should not be completely correct. Because now, the captain of the cursed boat walked out of the cursed boat. The power of death envelopes the earth. All life forms will be devoured. Suddenly, the captain of the cursed boat began to chant in an ancient and mysterious language, as if he was activating a mysterious and powerful spell. Endless darkness surged out from his body. Then, the darkness surged in the void, enveloping the Red World Fairy. Lin Feng and the others felt a terrifying aura from the endless darkness. It was the aura of death. Everything was swallowed by the darkness. Life would come to an end. The light will drive away the darkness, and there will be hope. The Red World Fairy stepped out of the void, and she also began to chant. As her voice faded away, the Red World Fairy's body began to glow. It began to shine. Soon, her body seemed to have turned into a sun, extremely dazzling. It emitted a dazzling light. At this moment, the Red World Fairy seemed to have turned into a sun. No one knew what kind of divine ability this was. It was really incredible. The black fog that covered the sky and the sun was dispelled. Even the endless darkness condensed by the captain of the cursed boat was dispelled. The divine sunlight shone on the captain of the cursed boat. It also shone on the crew members of the cursed boat. Lin Feng, Monkey Xiao, and Wanyan Yang were shocked to find that, when the dazzling divine sunlight shone on those people, their bodies changed. They all turned into rotten corpses. "Oh my God!" They became undead creatures. Wanyan Yang exclaimed. This was the true body of those crew members. "It's disgusting." Seeing the rotten bodies of the undead creatures, Lin Feng couldn't help but tremble. The Tushi ancient coin was in his hands. The curse boat was here to pick him up. If he really boarded the curse boat, didn't that mean he would also become such disgusting undead creatures? Lin Feng shuddered at the thought of it. "I hate sunlight. I hate sunlight too." The undead creatures on the boat of curse roared angrily. Human woman, take my punch. The captain of the curse boat roared, and then stepped forward. He threw a punch at the red world fairy. The black fog was surging. The rolling black fog. It swallowed all the divine sunlight emitted from the red world fairy's body. Well, the power of the black fog. It turns out that you have some connection with those unknown existences. The red world fairy looked indifferent. You know too much. The more you know, the shorter your life will be. The captain of the curse boat sounded indifferent. Is that so? The red world fairy looked indifferent. She also threw a punch at the captain of the curse boat. Bang! The two sides punched each other. With the two of them as the center, the void around them began to collapse. The space-time current swept across heaven and earth, but it couldn't shake their bodies. Ghost Immortal destroys the world. Suddenly, the captain of the boat of curse performed another powerful unique skill. Behind him, a supreme Ghost Immortal appeared. The strength of the Ghost Immortal. It was an existence that surpassed the great emperor. The Ghost Immortal glanced around, as if it could shatter 100,000 starry worlds. The Ghost Immortal stepped out. He directly threw a punch at the red world fairy. Ghost energy was rolling. The Ghost Immortal's punch seemed to be able to destroy the world. The terrifying punch directly enveloped the red world fairy. The red world fairy. She couldn't avoid it. Chapter 1985. The strength of the captain of the boat of curse was very terrifying. This Ghost Immortal exterminates the world had the power to destroy heaven and earth. It was extremely shocking. Of course, in the face of this tyrannical attack, the red world fairy was not without a way to deal with it. The red world fairy raised her right hand. On her palm, the power of karma lingered. It's the great karma technique. Lin Feng was taken aback. He had also cultivated this great karma technique. Of course, Lin Feng had only comprehended a trace of the great karma technique. He was far from being comparable to the red world fairy. The red world fairy must have cultivated the great karma technique to an extremely profound level. Karma of the world does not affect me. Immortal Venerable Red Dust mumbled to himself as he swept his palm forward. The power of karma poured into the Ghost Immortal's body. An amazing scene appeared. The Ghost Immortal turned around and attacked the captain of the boat of curse. One must know, the Ghost Immortal was condensed by the captain of the boat of curse. Now, instead, he attacked the captain of the boat of curse. It was too strange. The red world fairy's strength was unfathomable. Whoosh! The captain of the boat of curse's strength was also extremely terrifying. He opened his mouth and suddenly inhaled. Suddenly, a powerful devouring power surged out. It directly enveloped the captain of the boat of curse. Then, the captain of the boat of curse waved his right hand. Clatter! Numerous pitch-black chains condensed and formed. The chains were densely covered with dark runes. This was the chains of order condensed by the captain of the boat of curse with his powerful divine ability. He wanted to use the chains of order to trap the red world fairy. One after another, chains of order shot toward Venerable Red Dust. The dense dark runes on the chains of order emitted waves of astonishing fluctuations. The red world fairy looked indifferent. She raised her right hand and gently slashed. Puff, puff, puff. The chains were directly cut off by the red world fairy. Humph! At this moment, the captain of the boat of curse snorted and quickly retreated. He continued coldly, "Experts like you are hard to come by in the mortal realm these days. But since you are so stubborn and want to stop me, today, I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate technique." The captain of the boat of curse began to chant, "O great Tao of curses, you possess the power of eternal immortality. Now, someone has blasphemed the majesty of the Tao of curses. Please send down the power of curses to punish this lowly creature who dares to blaspheme the Tao of curses." Rumble. As the captain of the boat of curse finished speaking, a long river of curse condensed from the power of curse swept over from the sky. Curse. Lin Feng's voice suddenly trembled in the distance. The power of the curse was definitely one of the most bizarre powers in this era. It was unknown how many experts there were. Once he was cursed, it would be difficult to reverse fate. Even the people on the boat of curse were the same. They were cursed by the two Shi divine emperor back then, now turning into undead creatures. He had to endure endless torture every day. Being alive was worse than being dead. However, they couldn't die even if they wanted to. This was a terrifying curse. As the captain of the boat of curse, he knew the art of curses. There was nothing strange about this. Now that the captain of the boat of curse wanted to use the art of curses to deal with the Red World Fairy, Lin Feng couldn't help but worry about the Red World Fairy. The art of curses was too strange. No matter how powerful a cultivator was, once they were cursed, they might suffer a calamity. Although the Red World Fairy was powerful, it was inevitable that people would worry about her. What's more, the captain of the boat of curse was also an unimaginably powerful existence. If such a powerhouse used the art of curses, naturally, they had to be extremely careful. But very quickly, Lin Feng realized he had been worrying too much. The cursing river was moving towards Hongchun, and the Zun Celestial Master was also moving towards him. The Red World Fairy stretched out her right hand and pointed gently. The fate of the curse will eventually be buried in the endless void. The Red World Fairy muttered to herself. The power of fate pierced through the long river of curse. The long river of curse began to collapse. It turned into the power of curse again. Then, it was swallowed by a world of nothingness. The great fate spell. The captain of the boat of curse couldn't help but be shocked. He knew how powerful the great fate spell was. In fact, many people named the great fate spell as the little fate spell. It wasn't without reason. The two sides were inextricably linked. Creatures of the underworld, your destiny is to live in the underworld forever and not disturb the order of the Yang world. The gate of the underworld is about to open again. I will send you back to your own world. The Red World Fairy was extremely domineering. She directly used the Great Fate spell to communicate with the legendary gate of the underworld. A mysterious and ancient giant gate appeared above the 9 heavens. The giant gate was surrounded by dense runes. The giant gate. It was the gate of the underworld. Rumble. Rumble. Now, the giant gate was opening bit by bit. No, no, no. We definitely won't return to the underworld. The undead creatures on the boat of curse cried out in horror. They hated that place. It was a place where there was no sun. A world where there was only darkness and death. That's the power of fate. It will eventually break the power of fate. Suddenly, the captain of the boat of curse also began to use a powerful divine ability. He was condensing the power of fate. Buzz. Suddenly, in the void, a power of fate appeared. Chapter 1986. The power of the path of destiny was unimaginable. It was shocking and moving. The power of destiny was about to descend from the sky and suppress the Red World Fairy. However, at this moment, immortal Honorable Red Dust stepped forward. Her voice was faintly discernible and filled with a sense of mystery. She seemed to have turned into an immortal king. Endless immortal chi enveloped her entire body. What you have comprehended is only a little bit of the path of destiny. Today, I will let you know what the real path of destiny is. After hearing the Red World Fairy's words, Lin Feng's spirit suddenly shook. Could it be that the Red World Fairy had also comprehended the path of destiny? Shameless boasting. The captain of the boat of curse sneered. He controlled the power of destiny and continued to suppress the Red World Fairy. Meanwhile, Venerable Hong Qin's mysterious voice reverberated between heaven and earth. This was an extremely ancient language. It was so ancient that Lin Feng had never heard of it. The supreme court that stands in the higher plane. I sit in front of the court, watching the changes in the heavens and comprehending the true meaning of destiny. The Red World Fairy's right fingertips were surrounded by an amazing wave. It was a powerful power of destiny. But the power of destiny condensed by the Red World Fairy was different from the power of destiny condensed by the captain of the boat of curse. The power of destiny condensed by her contained a special aura. This special aura was a power that the power of destiny condensed by the captain of the boat of curse did not contain. If one really had to define this special aura, then this special aura was the true meaning of the path of destiny. This was the real path of destiny. The path of destiny that the captain of the boat of curse comprehended was not the path of destiny at all. At most, it could only be regarded as a little bit of the path of destiny. The power of destiny condensed by the Red World Fairy instantly shattered the power of destiny condensed by the captain of the Boat of Curse. Then, the power of destiny condensed by the Red World Fairy immediately bombarded the captain of the Boat of Curse. Bang! The captain of the Boat of Curse's body directly exploded. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng and the others were astonished. Zun Hongchun was too strong, wasn't he? Using the true essence of the Tao of Fate, he instantly killed the captain of the Boat of Curses. It was unimaginably terrifying. However, the captain of the Boat of Curse was not truly dead. He was cursed and possessed an immortal body. After his body exploded, it reassembled in the next moment. His expression was ferocious. The true essence of the Tao of Fate? Have you found the legendary Supreme Divine Court? It was rumored. There was a Supreme Divine Court in this world, which was filled with the greatest secrets of all the worlds in the universe. Among the 3,000 great Taos, some Taos were deduced by the most powerful experts. But there are some Taos. A Tao like the Tao of Destiny was too mysterious. The Tao of Destiny was even above the heavenly Tao. In the past, 4 experts had comprehended the Tao of Destiny. The Grand Mist Ancestor sat in front of the Supreme Divine Hall, comprehending the Tao of Destiny. Then, the Grand Mist Ancestor disappeared without a trace. Later on, Taoist Luya found the Supreme Divine Court and comprehended the Tao of Destiny. Taoist Luya was the second cultivator to comprehend the Tao of Destiny. Why was there a saying in the world? First there was Hongjun, then there was Taoist Luya. The reason was that Taoist Luya was the second existence to grasp the Tao of Destiny. Later on, Taoist Hongjun also found the Supreme Divine Court and comprehended the Tao of Destiny. Then came Patriarch Hun Kuan. He was the 4th expert to comprehend the Tao of Destiny. After Patriarch Hun Kuan, there was another powerful existence who comprehended the Tao of Destiny. This existence was called the Lord of Sovereigns. This person's origin was extremely great. Before the universe was formed, he was already born. It was this person who awakened the innate life forms after comprehending the Tao of Destiny. It was as if he was the one who awakened Pangu. Since then, there was the legend of Pangu splitting heaven and earth. Therefore, to truly comprehend the Tao of Destiny, one had to be like the Grand Mist Ancestor, Taoist Luya, Patriarch Hongjun, Patriarch Hun Kuan, and the Lord of Sovereigns. They had to see the legendary Supreme Divine Court. If one couldn't see the Supreme Divine Court, it was absolutely impossible to truly comprehend the Tao of Destiny. The captain of the Boat of Curses was also an outstanding existence. Why was he still unable to comprehend the Tao of Destiny? It was because he had never seen the Supreme Divine Court. Of course, the captain of the Boat of Curses was too monstrous. He was actually inspired by the Red World Fairy's great destiny technique and comprehended a trace of the Tao of Destiny. But even if it was just a trace of the Tao of Destiny, it was enough to defy the heavens. If he encountered anyone, he would probably be fearless and crush them directly. However, he encountered the Red World Fairy. The Red World Fairy said indifferently, "That's right. I've seen the Supreme Divine Court before." "That's impossible." The captain of the Boat of Curses suddenly roared. Pangu, Nuwa, the 3 sovereigns, 5 emperors, and other powerful existences. Since ancient times, countless experts have gone to search for the Supreme Divine Court, but they couldn't find it. How can you possibly find it? Lin Feng, Monkey Xiao, Wan Yinyang, and the others were extremely shocked. The Supreme Divine Court. What exactly was that? Why would so many experts go to search for it? When the old man was talking about the 2 ancient coin, he had also mentioned the Supreme Divine Court. The old man said that the 2 ancient coin could communicate with the legendary Supreme Divine Court. Therefore, the person who obtained the 2 ancient coin could live forever. Obviously, it was because of the Supreme Divine Court that they could live forever. Now that even the Tao of Destiny was related to the Supreme Divine Court, Lin Feng and the others were deeply shocked. The ancestors couldn't find it because they lacked some luck. The Red World Fairy stepped forward and said indifferently. Lin Feng noticed that the Red World Fairy mentioned the word luck. Pangu, Nuwa, the 3 sovereigns, and the 5 emperors also lacked luck? How much luck did one need to find the supreme divine court? Just how much luck did immortal venerable Hong Chun possess to allow her to find the supreme divine court? The Red World Fairy attacked again. She was very domineering. The power of destiny descended from the sky and directly enveloped the captain of the boat of curse and the boat of curse. She actually wanted to destroy the captain of the boat of curse and the boat of curse. She knew the great destiny technique, so she might be able to do it. But the boat of curse was extraordinary. Suddenly, a powerful black fog spread out from the boat of curse. Within the black fog, a strange cackling sound could be heard. The black fog directly enveloped the Red World Fairy. You can communicate with the creatures in the black fog and let the creatures in the black fog descend their power across endless time and space. The Red World Fairy frowned slightly. She didn't collide with the black fog, but quickly retreated. The black fog quickly retreated back into the boat of curse. Then the boat of curse tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1987. The boat of curse and the deep-sea monster fled one after another, and the surface of the sea finally calmed down. Lin Feng and the other 2 flew toward the Red World Fairy. "Thank you for saving our lives, Senior Immortal," the 3 of them said respectfully. If not for the Red World Fairy today, they would have been doomed. The Red World Fairy nodded. She glanced at Lin Feng and said, "I'm afraid that someone has tampered with the 2 Shi ancient coin. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been imprinted on your body." Lin Feng said with an ugly expression. "Then what should we do? I wonder if Senior Immortal has a way to neutralize it?" The Red World Fairy said, "We still need to find the person who gave you the 2 Shi ancient coin. If there's a way to neutralize it, it should be in her hands." Lin Feng's expression was uncertain. That black-dressed woman was really abominable. She had indirectly caused the deaths of the people on the boat. Even the few of them had almost died because of her. Obviously, that black-dressed woman was also a vicious and merciless person. Lin Feng could not help but think evilly. When he caught that black-dressed woman, he would do it 100 times, 100 times. Only in this way could the anger in his heart be appeased. Lin Feng said, "I will try my best to find that person." The Red World Fairy nodded and then walked into the distance. Bells were tied to her wrists and ankles. As she walked, suddenly, a tinkling sound was heard. It was very crisp and pleasant to the ears. Soon after, Honorable Immortal Hong Chun disappeared from sight. Lin Feng and the other 2 returned to the ancient starship Xianyuan. The boat of curse and the deep-sea monster had almost been destroyed by the Red World Fairy. They would not appear for a while. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. During this time, he needed to solve the various problems caused by the 2 Shi ancient coin. Lin Feng believed that since that black-dressed woman had deliberately obtained the 2 Shi ancient coin, she would definitely appear again. He sat cross-legged in the cabin, playing with the 2 Shi ancient coin in his hand. This 2 Shi ancient coin didn't always turn into a picture imprinted on Lin Feng's arm. Lin Feng found that he only needed to move his mind. The image of the 2 Shi ancient coin would immediately turn into a real 2 Shi ancient coin. Is this thing really the same as in the legends? After obtaining it, one can use the ancient coin to sense the existence of the divine court and gain immortality. But why can't I sense anything? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. He really hoped that this 2 Shi ancient coin could sense the supreme divine court. If he could really sense the location of the supreme divine court, then could he use the 2 Shi ancient coin to find the supreme divine court, and then, like the Red World Fairy, he could successfully comprehend the Tao of Destiny? If he were to truly comprehend the Tao of Fate, that would be heaven revolting. Just the thought of it had him feeling excited. It was a pity. Things didn't go as he wished. Lin Feng couldn't sense anything special about the 2 Shi ancient coin at all. Ishio said, "Perhaps the reason I can't sense it is because it's cursed?" Lin Feng rubbed his chin. That was indeed a possibility. Ishio observed the coin for a while before trying to sense it as well. He didn't find anything either. Wang Yang tried to sense it as well, but he didn't find anything either. Wang Yang handed the 2 Shi ancient coin to Lin Feng and said, "Master, that woman definitely knows many secrets about the 2 Shi ancient coin. As long as we can find her, everything will be solved." That woman is extremely cunning. She secretly gave me the 2 she coins because she wanted us to become the targets of the monsters in the deep sea. That way, she would be able to escape smoothly. Maybe she's watching us from the edge of the sea. Lin Feng said. Ishio said, even if she's hiding nearby, she won't dare to show herself so easily. Lin Feng nodded. Over the next few days, he kept trying to sense the mysteries of the 2 she ancient coin. That night, Yizichen, Lin Feng suddenly had an epiphany. He could vaguely sense a pitch-black cave. In this cave, there was a mountain of wealth. Among all the wealth, there was a chest. Many ancient coins were piled up in this chest. Those ancient coins, they were all 2 she ancient coins. Lin Feng was shocked. The Supreme Divine Court didn't sense it. They actually sensed so many 2 she ancient coins. What was the use of sensing these 2 she ancient coins? These 2 she ancient coins were cursed ancient coins. Holding them in one's hands would lead to disaster. Come here with the coins. Pour your blood. The power to break the curse. Sense the Supreme Divine Court's location. A mysterious voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. It seemed to be coming from the cave. When Lin Feng heard the mysterious voice, he was shocked. Was that voice telling the truth? The power to break the curse? One could use the 2 she ancient coins to sense the Supreme Divine Court's location. However, what did it mean by pouring blood? Whose blood did it need to be poured with? Was this a curse? Lin Feng had too many doubts in his heart. Who are you? He asked aloud. However, the voice disappeared. No matter how Lin Feng asked, there was no more sound. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Relying on the 2 she ancient coins, he once again sensed the chest of 2 she ancient coins. Every 2 she ancient coin emitted an ancient aura. Swish, swish. Suddenly, 2 rays of light lit up in the darkness. They were 2 rays of light. Pale green light. Incomparably cold. It was like the light from the eyes of the Grim Reaper. Lin Feng was shocked. Immediately after, he felt as if his soul was split into 2 halves from the middle. He couldn't help but scream. He lost all sense of the pitch-black cave. Huff, huff, huff. He panted heavily, his face pale. It was the 2 rays of light that lit up in the darkness that hurt his soul. Fortunately, Lin Feng's soul was strong enough. Or else, he had suffered the blow just now. His body and soul might have been destroyed. That place seems to be guarded by a terrifying creature. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. The ancient starship Xianyuan continued to sail in the sea. 10 days later, a huge continent on the sea appeared in sight. That was the gathering place of rogue cultivators in the ancient desolate sea region. The Rogue Cultivator Alliance was located there. Huge ships were sailing towards the port from all directions. Lin Feng even saw some pirate ships with pirate flags. They put away the pirate flags and sailed to the port as if nothing had happened. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. The ships in the sea region were pirate ships with the pirate flag. If they took off the pirate flag, it would be a normal merchant ship or passenger ship. Whoosh! 5 cultivators flew over from afar. Seeing the 5 cultivators, Lin Feng's pupils contracted violently. Chapter 1988. There were 5 cultivators shrouded in black robes. Although Lin Feng couldn't see their faces clearly, he could recognize them at a glance. They were the son of the true Dragon Emperor, Yazi. It was actually the 5 of them. Speaking of which, these 5 experts were the ones he had released from the Forbidden God realm. So many years had passed. He wondered how much they had recovered. Why are the 5 of them in the ancient desolate sea domain? Lin Feng couldn't help but stroke his chin. These were heaven-defying existences. Their combat strength was unimaginable. Lin Feng didn't know these 5 experts. Why would they wander around for no reason? Suddenly, the 5 seemed to have sensed something and turned around. 5 pairs of eyes shone coldly under their black robes. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly retracted his gaze. It's that brat, one of them said. He's quite lucky to have survived until now, another said. His bloodline is also very powerful. I really want to devour him, the third person said while licking his lips. Forget it. The fact that we were able to come out must have something to do with him. The man muttered. The 5 of them didn't stop and entered the island. Lin Feng had thought that he had escaped calamity because the 5 Yazi hadn't discovered him. In truth, with their strength, how could they not have discovered him? They hadn't devoured him. It was also because Lin Feng had opened the seal of the forbidden god realm. Although the 5 Yazi were ferocious, Lin Feng had helped them. That was why they had let Lin Feng go. However, so many years had passed, and Lin Feng still didn't know about it. After the 5 Yazi left, Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. When Ishio saw Lin Feng's strange expression, he couldn't help but ask, "Is there anything strange about those 5 people?" Lin Feng said, "Their origins are frightening. Those 5 people, they are the son of the true dragon emperor, Yazi." Monk Ishio's expression changed slightly. Yazi was a vicious beast. Wherever it went, it would cause a storm of blood. Therefore, in myths and legends, everyone's expression changed when they talked about Yazi. I wonder if the arrival of these 5 Yazis will cause any trouble, Monk Ishio said with a frown. Lin Feng said, "All these years, the 5 venerated Yazi haven't caused much trouble. Perhaps the world has some misunderstandings about their clan." Monk Ishio nodded and said, "That's right. After all, they are a race from myths and legends. However, there are many untruths in myths and legends." The 3 of them didn't stop. Lin Feng quickly put the Xinyuan starship into his mountain and rivers ring. Then, he stepped onto the island. "Greetings, Master." As soon as they landed on the island, more than 10 cultivators flew over and kowtowed to Lin Feng. These people were all from the Dragon Gate army. They had been waiting for Lin Feng's arrival. "Yes." Lin Feng nodded and allowed them to rise, and then he gazed at Monkey Shio and said, "If there's nothing urgent, then follow me to my residence. We can drink and chat happily while discussing the past and present." When some of the cultivators who were passing by heard Lin Feng's words, they could not help but mutter, "Drink and chat happily with a monk?" Although they were muttering in their hearts, no one said it out loud. Disaster comes from the mouth. This was a famous saying. Speak less when outside. This was also a rule that many people followed. "All right, when the time comes, we must drink until we're drunk," Monk Ishio said with a smile. Under the lead of more than 10 cultivators from the Dragon Gate army, Lin Feng arrived at the place where the Dragon Gate army's cultivators were temporarily stationed. It was a huge mansion that occupied more than 100 mu of land. Sunjan had bought it. "How are the arrangements with the higher-ups of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance?" Lin Feng asked. Sunjan said, "Everything has been arranged properly." Lin Feng nodded. Sunjan continued, "I've also received news from some higher-ups of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance that someone doesn't agree with you becoming a member of the Round Table Conference. Moreover, they have secretly contacted many members of the Round Table Conference, wanting to kick you out of the Round Table Conference." "Who is doing this behind the scenes?" Lin Feng asked. "Fire Scorpion Island, Evil Flood Dragon Island, Immortal Island, and other islands. These people all have their own recommendations. If you take their spot, the people they recommend will naturally be eliminated. This involves many conflicts of interest," Sunjan said. Lin Feng nodded. Everyone clamored for benefits. The members of the Round Table Conference had many privileges, which also involved huge benefits. Naturally, many people would consider their own benefits. There was nothing wrong with this. Immortal Island. What kind of power is that? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. Immortal Island is very mysterious. However, it is said that it is related to the Immortal sect, Sunjan said. After hearing the words Immortal sect, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The Immortal sect was one of the top 10 immortal sects in the 9 prefectures. No one knew where it was located, but the Immortal sect was exceptionally powerful. The leader of the Immortal sect was from the Immortal clan. They had the Immortal Divine Body, which was a physique passed down through their bloodline. It was a physique that defied the heavens. And Lin Feng also had the Immortal Divine Body. His father also had the Immortal Divine Body, although the Lin clan had been weak for a long time. However, after his father awakened, he also awakened the Immortal Divine Body. Lin Feng had always been puzzled. Was the Lin clan related to the Immortal clan? Perhaps someone in the clan married into the Immortal clan? Was that why the immortal divine blood was passed down? Of course, this was all Lin Feng's guess. Back then, the people of the Lin clan were captured by a huge hand. Could it be related to the immortal clan? Lin Feng's heart suddenly moved. Even though many years had passed, he still hadn't forgotten about the Lin clan. For so many years, Lin Feng had been investigating the whereabouts of the Lin clan. Previously, when he was in the Tianwu continent, he had asked the Mercenary Association to help him investigate. After coming to the 9 prefectures, he had also asked the various trading companies, the All-Knowing Pavilion, and other forces to investigate. However, it was a pity that there were no useful clues. However, Lin Feng now suspected the Immortal Clan. He didn't know if it was related to the Immortal Clan. Everything would have to wait until after the investigation. Sun Jian quickly arranged a place for Lin Feng and the others to rest. They had been through several life and death battles along the way. Coupled with the long journey, they were quite tired. Now, they could finally have a good rest. The next day, noon, Lin Feng and the others were having their meal. At this moment, someone came to visit them. It was Wu Run, whom they had met before. Haha, Sect Master Lin, I heard that you came to the Wandering Cultivator Island, so I immediately came to see you. I didn't disturb your meal, did I? Wu Run said with a smile. Lin Feng stood up and cupped his fists. He smiled and said, Brother Wu, you are too polite. I'm very happy to see you here. Have you eaten? If not, I'll add another set of chopsticks. I've already eaten. Let's talk after you finish eating, Wu Run said with a smile. Chapter 1989. Lin Feng didn't continue eating. Instead, he received Wu Run in the living room. Wu Run said with a smile, After hearing about your arrival, the elders of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance wanted to hold a banquet for you. That's why I'm here today to invite you to the banquet. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. The elders of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance were also members of the Roundtable Conference. They were in charge of holding the Roundtable Conference. They were even in charge of the distribution of benefits in the ancient Desolate Sea domain. The members of the Elder Group were all famous experts among the rogue cultivators. They were existences at the level of patriarchs. Lin Feng had heard from Sun Jian that Fire Scorpion Island and the other factions wanted to join forces to kick him out of the Roundtable Conference. These people must have received the support of the elders of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance. Although Sun Jian had bribed the higher-ups of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance, some people wouldn't do anything even if they were paid. Clearly, the ones who invited Lin Feng to the banquet were the elders of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance. They were the elders who supported Lin Feng. Wu Ran was also one of the elders of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance. Originally, he didn't have much of a relationship with Lin Feng. However, when Wu Ran came to invite Lin Feng to the Roundtable Conference in the Wandering Cultivator Alliance, Lin Feng had asked Wan and Yang to give Wu Ran 5 million origin crystals for his hard work. Later, Sun Jian came to bribe the higher-ups of the Wandering Cultivator Alliance, and Wu Ran received another 10 million origin crystals. Wu Ran seemed to have been bribed by Lin Feng. Therefore, he had been putting in a good word for Lin Feng in the Wandering Cultivator Alliance during this period. When Wu Ran met Lin Feng, he addressed him as little brother. They seemed to be very close. Lin Feng said with a smile, Fellow Taoists, thank you for your efforts. I'm very touched. May I know where the banquet will be held, and when will it be held? Wu Ran smiled and said, It will be held in the Myriad Flower Pavilion at 6 in the evening. Someone will come to pick you up in advance. Thank you for being so considerate, Lin Feng said with a smile. Wu Ran replied, Brother, there's no need to be so courteous. Aren't you treating me like an outsider? Lin Feng said, It's my fault. When the time comes, I'll definitely punish myself with 3 cups of wine. Haha, then this old brother will remember these 3 cups of wine for now, Wu Ran said with a big laugh. The two of them chatted for an hour. Wu Ran then bid farewell to Lin Feng and left. Lin Feng also didn't stay in his residence. He asked Sun Jian to bring him to the newly purchased ancient warship. It was a naval force. Naturally, they would need to build a huge fleet. First, it could protect the island. Secondly, they could display their wealth and attract more cultivators to join them. Thirdly, if he were to expand his territory in the future, he would need these ancient warships. Riding on the ancient warships would allow the cultivators to have a good rest and adjust their condition. Lin Feng arrived at the harbor. He saw 30 ancient warships lined up in a row. At that moment, all 30 ancient warships were hung with the Dragon Gate's flag. There were 300 elites from the Dragon Gate army stationed on each ancient warship. Not enough. Buy some more. Buy as many as you can, Lin Feng said. Sun Jian said, Lord, the ancient warships this subordinate bought are all top-grade ancient warships. The materials for these ancient warships are hard to find, so they take a long time to build. Now, there are only 30 ships left. The trading company said that they will only be able to build the next batch of top-grade ancient warships in half a year. Lin Feng said, then make an order with the trading company in advance. Don't let anyone snatch it away. Sun Jian said, Yes, Lord. This subordinate will quickly take care of this matter. Lin Feng nodded. Then, he boarded the ancient warships and inspected them carefully. These ancient warships naturally couldn't be compared to Lin Feng's Xinyuan ancient warship. However, compared to other ancient warships, it was many times stronger. A top-grade ancient warship like this could buy 120 ordinary ancient warships, 60 middle-grade ancient warships, and 30 high-grade ancient warships. From this, one could see how expensive it was. Of course, being expensive had its benefits. Whether it was in terms of offense or defense, these ancient warships couldn't be compared to other ancient warships. When I have time, I can add Emperor runes to these ancient warships. If I add Emperor runes to them, at that time, the ancient warships will be upgraded by a few grades. Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. He then returned to his residence. At night, when Wu Ren's men arrived, Lin Feng called Monk Yixiu, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang to attend the banquet. The myriad flower buildings business was very prosperous, just like in the Tianwu continent. In the 9 prefectures, the myriad flower building had opened in almost every corner. This faction, they had nurtured countless peerless beauties. Then, he used these peerless beauties to win over countless cultivators. I wonder how Lu Huaxian and Bai Xingyi are doing? After alighting from the beast carriage and seeing the myriad flower building from afar, Lin Feng couldn't help but think of his old friends in the Tianwu continent. Lu Huaxian and Bai Xingyi were both saintesses of the myriad flower building. Lin Feng and Bai Xingyi were close friends. Lu Huaxian and Bai Xingyi were even closer. Lin Feng hadn't seen them for many years. He only knew that they had come to the 9 prefectures. However, the 9 prefectures were vast and boundless. It was easier said than done to bump into them. Lin Feng collected his thoughts and walked towards the myriad immortal building with Monk Yixiu, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang. When they arrived at the entrance of the myriad immortal building, they were greeted by more than 20 cultivators. Lin Feng, it's you. One of the cultivators looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression. His eyes were filled with coldness. Who are you? Lin Feng glanced at him indifferently. He didn't recognize the man in the dark green robe. My lord is the 5th island master of the Fire Scorpion Island, 9-tailed magic scorpion, one of the cultivators said. Hearing the words Fire Scorpion Island, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. Previously, Qilian Fire Scorpion had led an army to attack the Dragon Gate Island and suffered heavy losses. Lin Feng didn't find it strange that the 9-tailed demon scorpion could recognize him. Although he hadn't seen the 9-tailed demon scorpion before, it was easy for the 9-tailed demon scorpion to get a portrait of him. So this is Lin Feng? So you're only in the divine fire realm. The outside world has been spreading rumors about how powerful you are. Now it seems that you're just relying on treasures to strengthen your cultivation. If it weren't for those treasures, there would be a lot of people with your cultivation even in the world of independent cultivators. You're not even worth mentioning. A cultivator in a brown robe looked at Lin Feng with contempt. You dare to be disrespectful to my master? Wanyan Yang's expression suddenly sank. The cultivator in the brown robe sneered. I'm just stating the truth. I don't want to waste my breath on you. In 3 days, some people will show their true colors during the round table meeting. They'll be kicked out of the meeting and there'll be a good show to watch. He glanced at Lin Feng with disdain and waved his hand. Let's go inside and have some fun. There's no need to get involved with this group of people. The group of people walked inside. When they passed by Lin Feng, They looked at Lin Feng with disdain. When those people learned that Lin Feng was only a cultivator of the godly fire layer, they all felt proud and arrogant. Nobody dared look at Lin Feng in the eyes anymore. Break one of his legs, Long Xiaokong said in a low voice. Yes. Immediately, a tall and burly man stepped out and walked towards Lin Feng. He was a cultivator from the Evil Dragon Island and was from the Evil Dragon tribe. When he threw a punch, there was a sonic boom. Kneel. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He stepped forward and a rune formed in the void, suppressing the burly cultivator. There was a thump. The burly cultivator from the Evil Dragon Island knelt on the ground. Let me go, brat. I'll take your life. The burly cultivator roared furiously, his face contorting in anger. There were so many people watching the show. He knelt on the ground in front of everyone. It was a complete disgrace. A man's life depended on his pride. Cultivators were prideful. After losing so much face today, the burly cultivator wanted to cut Lin Feng into pieces. Formation Master, many people exclaimed. They were not sure if Lin Feng's cultivation was really weak. However, Lin Feng's formation skills were really powerful. Many people were shocked. You people are just a bunch of trash in front of me. Don't waste my time. Come at me together. Lin Feng said with a cold smile. You're courting death. Let's go together and teach him a lesson. Many cultivators from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Dragon Island shouted. Other than the nine-tailed devil scorpion and Long Xiaokong, who were arrogant heavenly gods, who did not move, the rest of the cultivators all rushed towards Lin Feng. You overestimate yourselves. Lin Feng sneered and waved his right hand. Dense formation runes intertwined in the void. Lines of formation runes suppressed the cultivators from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Dragon Island. No matter how strong they were, they could not resist the suppression of Lin Feng's formation runes. Thump, thump, thump. The cultivators from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Dragon Island all knelt in front of Lin Feng. They struggled violently and were humiliated. However, they could not break free. What a terrifying formation technique. Many people felt their scalps go numb. Formation masters were the most troublesome people for cultivators. Formation masters mastered all kinds of powerful formations. When facing an enemy, they could use all kinds of formations. Perhaps they would be trapped by the formation master's formation before they could even make a move. How could they continue to fight that battle? In many people's eyes, this was the situation in front of them. There are only two of you left. Take the initiative to kneel in front of me and apologize. I'll spare you. This is your last chance. Lin Feng looked indifferent. Long Xiaokong and nine-tailed demon scorpion's faces were extremely gloomy. It was impossible for them to kneel. The two of them looked at each other and rushed towards Lin Feng from both sides. Both of them are heavenly god stage powerhouses. Long Xiaokong is a third heaven heavenly god. Nine-tailed demon scorpion is a fourth heaven heavenly god. Even if the dragon sect leader is a formation master, it won't be easy to deal with them. Many people exclaimed in surprise. However, in the next moment, these people were completely dumbfounded. Lin Feng pointed at the two of them with his right hand across the void. Two distorted formation runes flew out and suppressed Long Xiaokong and nine-tailed demon scorpion. Long Xiaokong and nine-tailed demon scorpion looked cold as they threw a punch at the two formation runes. They wanted to break the formation runes that Lin Feng condensed. However, their divine abilities were actually broken in an instant. Then, the two formation runes suppressed the two of them. Thump, thump. Long Xiaokong and nine-tailed demon scorpion knelt in front of Lin Feng. How could this be? How could this be? The two of them roared hysterically. The two of them couldn't be compared to those people just now. Long Xiaokong was the younger brother of the Evil Dragon Island Master. Nine-tailed demon scorpion was the fifth island master of Fire Scorpion Island. The two of them were reputable figures in the ancient desolate sea region. Now, in front of so many people, they were kneeling in front of Lin Feng. This was a great humiliation. They couldn't accept it at all. Their eyes turned bloodshot. Deep, beast-like roars were emitted from their throats. Chapter 1992. Lin Feng, Monkey Xiao, Sunjan, and Wanyan Yang entered the myriad flower building. Many people were still discussing the earlier conflict and how Lin Feng had suppressed so many experts with a flick of his finger. Clearly, this matter would cause quite a stir. Currently, the experts from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Dragon Island were still kneeling in front of the myriad flower building. There were more than 20 people kneeling, including the heavenly god Nine-Tailed Demon Scorpion and Long Shefeng. Thus, the scene was quite spectacular. After entering the myriad flower building, a beautiful woman walked over and bowed to Lin Feng with a smile. She said, "I believe this young master must be the famous Dragon Gate sect leader, Lin Feng, Lin Gongzi?" Lin Feng nodded. The beautiful woman said, "The lords of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance are already inside waiting for young Master Lin's arrival. Please follow me, young Master Lin." Lin Feng said with a smile. "Thank you, sister." The woman said with a smile, "It's my honor to be able to lead the way for you," said Lin Feng while smiling. He obviously knew that the woman was just being polite. In a private room on the third floor, Lin Feng met the upper echelons of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. There were a total of 4 experts from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. They were the 4 elders who supported Lin Feng's participation in the Roundtable Conference. Wu Ren said with a smile, "Haha, Brother Lin is here. Let me introduce you. This is Brother Lin Feng. This is Elder Guomachang. This is Elder Wang Pangjiu. This is Elder Li Zhongtang. Nice to meet you." After Wu Ren's introduction, everyone cupped their fists and greeted each other. Lin Feng introduced Monk Ishio and Wanyan Yang. Both parties sat down and chatted happily. During this time, they also talked about the next day. After chatting for a while, they learned that there were a total of 12 elders in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Some of them were hesitant about Lin Feng becoming a member of the Round Table Conference, while others were against it. Naturally, there were all kinds of conflicts of interest involved. It was not something that could be explained in a few words. Lin Feng wanted to relax, so he did not talk too much about it with the elders. Since he was in the myriad flower building, he could not go without beauties. Wu Ren called singers, dancers, and musicians over. Everyone drank wine and chatted while enjoying the performances of the beauties. Halfway through the banquet, the beautiful woman brought a beautiful woman's hands entered the room. The beautiful middle-aged woman smiled as she said, "Sirs, this is a good opportunity. A's hearts is, she's here's a toast. S is here? This. She, S white was in white. She was dressed in a white dress and had a graceful figure. However, she was wearing a veil, so he couldn't see what she looked like. However, this woman's temperament was elegant and otherworldly, as pure and holy as a fairy from the 9 heavens. The identity of the saintess of the myriad flower building was no small matter. The upper echelons of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance did not dare to slight her. They all stood up to greet her. The woman bowed slightly to everyone. She stepped forward and drank a cup of wine. Everyone followed suit and drank the wine in their cups before inviting the woman to take a seat. The woman did not refuse, and after some conversation, he found out that this woman was called Miao Kur. After the banquet was over, Lin Feng and the others left. At this moment, the beautiful woman called out to Lin Feng and said, "Young master, my holy maiden invites you in." Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He didn't know why Miao Kur had called him at this time. Lin Feng let Monk Ishio and the other 2 return first. He followed the beautiful woman to see Miao Kur. Lin Feng was brought to a living room, where he found Miao Kur playing the zither. The sound of the zither lingered in the air. It was very pleasant. Miao Kur's zither skills were superb. Lin Feng found a place to sit down and listened carefully to the song. The more he listened, the more familiar it sounded. When the song ended, Miao Kur looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Young master, what do you think of this song?" "The mood is profound. Fairy is worthy of the title of Zither Master," Lin Feng said. Miao Kur said, "Young master, you flatter me." Lin Feng smiled and said, "If I remember correctly, this song should be called the Celestial Moon Score, right?" Miao Kur said, "Yes. It seems that young master has some understanding of zither music." Lin Feng said, "I don't know much about it, but I had a friend who liked to play this Celestial Moon Score. That's how I learned about it." Miao Kur asked, Young master, is your friend named Bai Xingyi? Lin Feng was slightly surprised and said, Indeed, it's Bai Xingyi. May I know how you found out about this? Junior sister Bai Xingyi is master's new disciple, and she's also my junior sister. I've heard her talk about the various things that happened in Tianwu continent, including Lin Gongzi. I've seen young master's portrait before, but I didn't expect to meet you here today. Miao Kuer said. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. Where did Bai Xingyi get a portrait of him? He didn't know about this. Could it be that Bai Xingyi secretly had a crush on him, so she secretly drew a portrait of him? She took it out when she missed him? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel proud. It seemed that his charm was quite great. Lin Feng said, Speaking of which, I haven't seen Fairy Bai for a few years. I wonder how she's doing. She's currently cultivating with Master. So Lin Gongzi, you don't have to worry. Miao Kuer said. Lin Feng asked, May I know if Fairy Bai knows Lu Huaxian? Miao Kuer nodded and said, I know junior sister Lu, but I'm not very familiar with her. They both came from Tianwu continent, and they're the holy maidens of Tianwu continent's myriad flower pavilions branch. Their talents are quite good, so after coming to the 9 provinces, they were taken in as disciples by several pavilion masters of myriad flower pavilion. Lin Feng nodded. When he heard that Lu Huaxian was fine and had even become a disciple of a pavilion master, the worry in his heart gradually dissipated. Miao Kuer had called him over to tell him about the Qinwu people and the evil dragon palace. Miao Kuer had received news that these 2 factions had contacted the longevity camp in the 9 provinces and had paid a huge sum of money to issue a bounty for him. The longevity camp had already accepted the mission, and experts would soon be dispatched to kill him. Miao Kuer had told him this because of Bai Xingyi. Lin Feng asked, What faction is the longevity camp? An assassin organization? Miao Kuer said, It's not an assassin organization, but it's much more terrifying than an assassin organization. Chapter 1993. Lin Feng had heard of the Longevity Immortal sect before, but this was the first time he had heard of the Longevity Camp. He wondered what kind of organization the Longevity Camp was. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask curiously, Is the Longevity Camp related to the Longevity Immortal sect? Miao Kuer said, There are no clues that can prove that the Longevity Camp is related to the Longevity Immortal sect. She paused for a moment, then continued, The Longevity Camp is a very special place. If there are any missions in the 9 provinces, you can go to the Longevity Camp to post a bounty. Many people will also go to the Longevity Camp to accept missions. However, it's very expensive to post a mission in the Longevity Camp. It's said that the starting price for a mission in the Longevity Camp is 10 million origin crystals, and that's only the starting price. Many missions require a reward that far surpasses the starting price. Such a huge price isn't something that an ordinary person or organization can afford. Of course, there are many large organizations in the 9 provinces that have a lot of money. They will still look for the Longevity Camp for troublesome matters, such as assassination missions. The Longevity Camp has a lot of connections. Not only do they have connections with large assassin organizations, but they also have connections with many fiendish outlaws, demonic experts, and so on. It's very easy for the Longevity Camp to find people who can complete such missions, Miao Kuer said. Lin Feng said, In that case, after the Longevity Camp posts a mission to assassinate me, not only will I have to face strange assassins, but I'll also have to be on guard against any experts who might appear in front of me? Miao Kuer nodded and said, In theory, that's indeed the case. This is a huge problem, and you won't be able to bear it. Moreover, you won't know who's here to assassinate you, or who's here to make friends with you. Many cultivators who are listed in the Longevity Camp are almost driven to madness even if they aren't assassinated. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and nodded. She was indeed like Miao Kuer. If one constantly doubted the people who approached them, they wouldn't be able to make friends. Moreover, if they constantly suspected that the people around them were here to assassinate them, their minds would definitely collapse. After leaving Miao Kuer's place, Lin Feng went straight to his residence. Miao Kuer stood at the window of the 4th floor of the 10,000 Flowers building, watching Lin Feng leave. She then looked at the cultivators from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Flood Dragon Island, kneeling in front of the Myriad Flower building. She couldn't help but ponder. The beautiful woman walked in and said, "Saintess, this Lin Gongzi is not as simple as we thought." Miaokur said, "That's right. To be able to resist the invasion of the heavenly demons in the Sky Martial Continent, and to be able to stir up a storm in the 9 prefectures, such a person is indeed not simple." The beautiful woman asked, "Then is the holy maiden planning to fall in love with Lin Feng?" Miao cultivated the emotionless Tao. For so many years, he was still unable to cultivate the path of ruthlessness to the great perfection level. Later on, Miao Ku's master told her that if she wanted to be heartless, she had to fall in love first. Miao Kur said, "He's not a bad choice. Once you fall in love, it'll be very difficult to sever the relationship." The beautiful woman frowned slightly. "Is there really no other way? Over the years, I've tried other methods, but none of them worked. Although it's difficult to sever the relationship, as long as I can sever the relationship, my path of ruthlessness will reach the great perfection level. Once it reaches the great perfection level, my path of ruthlessness will open up a whole new world, waiting for me to further improve the mysteries of the path of ruthlessness. Therefore, Master telling me to fall in love is the best choice." Miao Kur said, "Saintess, you still have to consider all of this carefully. I'm afraid that once you fall in love, you won't be able to control yourself. If you lose your virginity to him, all your years of hard work will be for naught." The beautiful woman said worriedly. Miao Kur said, "Don't worry. Even if Lin Feng falls in love, I won't lose my virginity to him." At this moment, sounds of venting could be heard from below. The beautiful woman looked over and said, "It's the people from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Flood Dragon Island?" Miao Kur nodded slightly and looked down as well. In front of the myriad flower building, there were many people. Many people were here to watch the show. After all, 2 heavenly gods and more than 20 true gods were suppressed together and forced to kneel on the ground. Such a thing was not common. Now that they had received the news, the cultivators who came to rescue the 9-tailed fiend scorpion, Lung Shekong, and the others came from Fire Scorpion Island and Evil Flood Dragon Island, respectively. The 4th island master of Fire Scorpion Island, the double-winged venomous scorpion, came personally. The double-winged venomous scorpion had already transformed into his human form. He looked like a thin, middle-aged cultivator, and his eyes flickered with a sinister gaze. This was a ruthless character. He was good at using poison. Back then, Fire Scorpion Island and the cultivators from another island were fighting for treasures. When the 2 sides were fighting fiercely, the double-winged venomous scorpion released a strong poison that poisoned more than 30,000 people on the other side, causing their combat strength to decrease sharply. Then, the cultivators of Fire Scorpion Island took this opportunity to kill all 30,000 cultivators on the other side. The expert who came from Evil Flood Dragon Island was an old man. His name was Long Qinshan, and he was one of the great elders of Evil Flood Dragon Island. When the 2 of them saw the 9-tailed fiend scorpion, Long Shekong, and the others kneeling on the ground, their expressions were extremely gloomy. "4th brother, hurry up and kill me. I want to personally kill that little bastard Lin Feng." Seeing the double-winged venomous scorpion arrive, the 9-tailed fiend scorpion immediately roared, and his face became incomparably ferocious and distorted. "Great Elder, hurry up and break the restriction that's suppressing me. I want to tear that little bastard Lin Feng into pieces." Long Shekong also cursed viciously, and endless killing intent surged in his eyes. Whether it was the 9-tailed fiend scorpion or Long Shekong, now, they hated Lin Feng to the core. The only thought in their minds now was to find Lin Feng and make Lin Feng die a horrible death. Only in this way could they wash away their humiliation. Only in this way could they regain the face they had lost. "Who will break the formation?" the double-winged venomous scorpion asked. Lung Qinshan said, "4th Island Master's attainments and formations are much better than mine. 4th Island Master, please break the formation." This Long Qinshan was an old fox. In terms of formations, he was not necessarily inferior to Long Qinshan. However, this old fox did not want to make a move. This was because he felt that Lin Feng's formation was not simple, so he complimented the double-winged venomous scorpion and asked him to break the formation. Lung Qinshan was watching from the side. The double-winged venomous scorpion was not a simple person, and he knew what Long Qinshan was thinking. He could not help but ridicule Long Qinshan in his heart, and he was quite disdainful of Long Qinshan. The double-winged venomous scorpion was arrogant, so even though he knew that Lin Feng's formation was not simple, he did not care. He believed that he could successfully break Lin Feng's formation. Then let me break this kid's formation. The double-winged venomous scorpion stepped forward, and his hands formed thousands of seals. The densely packed seals surged toward the formation runes that were suppressing the nine-tailed fiend scorpion. The double-winged venomous scorpion wanted to use these seals to break the formation runes that were suppressing the nine-tailed fiend scorpion. However, at this moment, the formation runes that were suppressing the nine-tailed fiend scorpion gently swept through the void. Bang! This attack directly shattered all of the formation runes that the double-winged venomous scorpion had condensed, and then struck the double-winged venomous scorpion. Barf! The double-winged venomous scorpion was struck by lightning. He was directly sent flying. In midair, he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 1994. Heavens! How is this possible? Cries of disbelief rang out one after another. The double-winged venomous scorpion was a tyrannical existence, yet it was sent flying by a formation rune that suppressed the nine-tailed devilish scorpion. Moreover, it was heavily injured. Everyone could not believe what they were seeing. One had to know that the double-winged venomous scorpion was not only skilled in formations, but he was also a fifth heavenly god expert. This can't be real. This can't be real. The double-winged venomous scorpion could not accept this fact, so he roared furiously. He was a dignified double-winged venomous scorpion, an expert of the ancient desolate sea region, but he was actually forced to vomit blood by a formation rune left behind by someone else. This was simply a great humiliation. The double-winged venomous scorpion wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Feng apart. "I'll help you," Long Qinshan said. He had let the double-winged venomous scorpion attack, first to prevent something unexpected from happening. Now, such an unexpected thing had actually happened. Long Qinshan let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was the double-winged venomous scorpion who attacked first and not him. If he had attacked first, the person who would be humiliated would be him. After rejoicing in his heart, Long Qinshan knew that he had to make a move. Moreover, the chances of them breaking the formation were much higher if they worked together. The double-winged venomous scorpion nodded with a gloomy expression. He and Long Qinshan walked towards the suppressed nine-tailed devilish scorpion. Seeing that the two of them were going to work together to break the formation, the surrounding people could not help but hold their breaths. Do you guys think they can succeed? I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to be an easy task to break the formation successfully. That Lin Feng's attainments in formations are too high, right? It's simply unbelievable. Yeah, who would have thought that his formations would be so terrifying? To be able to establish the Dragon Gate, he obviously has some ability. Many people discussed in low voices, but everyone's eyes were fixed on the double-winged venomous scorpion and Long Qinshan. The two of them had profound attainments in formations. Although the double-winged venomous scorpion had failed to break the formation and was injured by the formation rune, it was only him. However, there was only one person earlier. Now, there were two people working together. Naturally, the chances were much higher. The double-winged venomous scorpion and Long Qinshan's hands were covered in runes. Those were all formation-breaking runes. The two of them waved their hands, and all the formation-breaking runes rushed towards the runes that were suppressing the nine-tailed devil scorpion. At this moment, the formation runes that suppressed the nine-tailed demon scorpion came to life again. The void suddenly twitched. Bang! The formation-breaking runes formed by the double-winged venomous scorpion and Long Qinshan were shattered once more. Then, the formation runes lashed towards the two of them. Not good. Retreat. The double-winged venomous scorpion and Long Qinshan's expressions changed drastically. They didn't expect Lin Feng's formation to be so terrifying. This kind of array formation level had already reached a level that left them in the dust. However, it was too late for the two of them to retreat. That formation pattern had already lashed out, and there was no way to avoid it. Their expressions suddenly sank, and they had no choice but to block it. Boom, boom. Everyone struck out with their palms, and directly slapped towards the array pattern that was whipping towards them. However, when their palms collided with the formation runes, the sound of bones cracking could be heard, and their arms were directly broken by the formation runes. Then, the formation runes lashed on their bodies and sent them flying. The two of them continuously vomited blood. Their faces were as pale as paper, and they fell to the ground. Their hair was disheveled, and they were in an extremely sorry state. After seeing this scene, the surroundings became completely silent. No one dared to believe that this was real. The beautiful woman's face was filled with shock as she said, "Isn't this too amazing? What kind of spirit array master is Lin Gongzi?" Miao Ku'er's beautiful eyes lit up slightly as she said, "This person is really too amazing. Even in the 9 prefectures, there are probably not many cultivators who can be compared to him in terms of array formation level." Lin Feng was unaware of what happened outside the Myriad Flower Building. After leaving the Myriad Flower Building, he directly returned to his residence. When he returned, he found that Xiao had not yet slept and was sitting on the roof drinking alone. Lin Feng flew up and said with a smile, "Isn't it too boring to drink alone? Let me accompany you." He grabbed a jar of wine beside him, removed the cork, and drank 3 mouthfuls in a row. Good alcohol tolerance. Monkey Xiao laughed and drank 3 mouthfuls of wine as well. That night, Lin Feng and Monkey Xiao talked about many things. Lin Feng also had some understanding of Monkey Xiao's background. Monkey Xiao's master was a wild monk. Normally, Buddhist monks would have a note of which temple they came from. A monk without a note was a wild monk. A wild monk like Monkey Xiao's master. He had no roots, and the world was his home. He did not have many rules. Therefore, Monkey Xiao was very different from ordinary monks. He ate meat, drank wine, and at the same time, meditated and comprehended the Tao. The two of them drank until they were dead drunk. In the end, they completely lost consciousness. They did not even know how to return to their room. When they woke up the next day, it was already late in the morning. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. The Round Table Conference was about to begin. Lin Feng brought Monkey Xiao, Wan and Yang, Sun Zhan, and dozens of guards to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance to participate in the Round Table Conference. When they arrived at the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, they were led by the cultivators of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Soon, they arrived at the meeting hall. There were many people gathered outside the hall. They were all cultivators of the major factions. Apart from the leaders of the various factions who could enter the Round Table Conference, the others had to wait outside. "That young man is Lin Feng," someone said. Instantly, countless gazes looked at Lin Feng. Everyone had heard of Lin Feng. They had heard too many legends about Lin Feng. Now that they saw the main character, they were naturally very curious. Monkey Xiao, Sun Zhan, Wan Yang, and the others waited outside while he walked into the hall. When he entered the hall, he saw that there were about 40 to 50 people sitting inside. Many of them were already here. "This is Lin Feng, sect leader Lin," Wu Ren said. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. "Whether this person is qualified to be a member of the Round Table Conference will be decided after a vote. He's not qualified to enter yet." The person who spoke was the evil Dragon Island's island lord, Long Qian Shui. Lin Feng ignored him and found a place to sit down. Long Qian Shui's face instantly turned ugly. He looked coldly at Lin Feng and shouted, "Kid, didn't you hear what I said just now? Is this a place for you to sit? Get the hell out of here." They headed toward Long Qianshui. They slashed forward. Long Qianshui's expression changed. He didn't expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. He waved his hand and a sea of blood appeared. The sea of blood fell from the sky and wanted to devour the lightning swords. Lin Feng sneered. He directly condensed an emperor pattern and suppressed Long Qianshui. This was one of Lin Feng's trump cards. A high-level spiritual array master like Lin Feng not only had powerful combat strength, but also mastered powerful spiritual array techniques. When used together in battle, its power could often achieve an unexpected effect. Just like now, the Emperor pattern and lightning sword aura combined and instantly destroyed the blood-red sea. Then Lin Feng's emperor pattern directly swept Long Qinshue's body and sent him flying. Whoosh! Lin Feng disappeared in a flash and appeared in front of Long Qianxue in the next moment. He punched at Long Qianxue. Long Qianshue's expression changed. It was too late to dodge. He could only raise his right arm to block Lin Feng's punch. Bang! Lin Feng's powerful punch landed on Long Qianshue's arm. Crack, crack. Long Qianshue's arm was broken. The spiritual power in his body was also scattered by Lin Feng. His entire body fell heavily to the ground, and his face became as pale as a sheet of paper. He instantly lost all his combat strength. Long Qianxue lost. Exclamations of disbelief could be heard. Clatter. Everyone in the hall stood up abruptly. Everyone's pupils contracted violently, and it was as if monstrous waves were surging in their hearts. P.S. Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art Group number 426393872. Everyone, add me. Cute girls, handsome guys, there's always something you want. There's a red packet every night. I'm waiting for you. Chapter 1996. Lung Qianxue might not be considered a top expert among the ancestors, but he was at least a mid-tier expert. Yet, he had been defeated so easily by Lin Feng. This left everyone in disbelief. How could a young cultivator like Lin Feng possess such powerful combat strength? Were all the rumors about Lin Feng fake? In any case, none of the cultivators present sensed that Lin Feng had borrowed the power of a treasure. So this is your strength? You're too weak. Lin Feng coldly glanced at Long Qianxue and lifted him up. He seemed to really want to throw Long Qianxue out. Sect Master Lin, please wait. Suddenly, an old man spoke. Seeing that the old man was wearing the same clothes as Wu Run, it was obvious that he was an elder of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. What? Elder, do you have something to say? The old man said with a fake smile. Let people off when possible. Why don't we just forget about today's matter? Wu Ren said, Brother Lin, this matter shouldn't be blown out of proportion. Lin Feng ignored what the elder of the Independent Cultivators Alliance said. However, he still had to give face to Wu Ren. He threw Long Qianxue to the ground and said indifferently, Consider this a small lesson for you. If you dare to provoke me again in the future, don't blame me for being merciless. Lin Feng nodded at Wu Ren and returned to his seat. He said indifferently, Thank you for nominating me to join the Round Table. I believe that no one will object to me becoming a member of the Round Table now, right? The island masters who originally wanted to object to Lin Feng joining the Round Table naturally did not want to offend Lin Feng after seeing how powerful Lin Feng was. Therefore, many people stopped objecting to Lin Feng joining the Round Table. Crimson Fire Scorpion's expression was ugly, but he knew that there was no turning back. He remained silent with a gloomy expression. At that moment, an elder said, Since everyone is here, let's talk about the purpose of this round table. Everyone listened carefully. Every time a round table was called, it was because of a major event that involved their own interests. The elder who spoke was called Zhao Kuo, and he was the highest-ranked elder in the elder group. He had always been the one who presided over the round table. Zhao Kuo continued, Some time ago, someone discovered an immortal estate called the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor. It was left behind by an expert from the Immortal Era. Rogue Cultivator Alliance read through a lot of information, and we finally found some clues about it. Upon hearing the words Martial Origin Immortal Manor, everyone's expression suddenly changed. The word immortal and the word immortal. It was easy to let one's imagination run wild. Zhao Kuo continued, The owner of the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor is called my Wu Yuan. Rumor has it that he was an expert from the Immortal Era. He was born and raised in our 9 provinces great world, but his cultivation soared all the way until he became a great emperor. He even entered the ethereal heavenly realm. There are also rumors that he broke through to the immortal realm. This was truly an earth-shattering piece of news, causing everyone's expression to change. Was he really an immortal? It had been billions of years since an immortal had appeared in the world. Actually, there was no need to call it an immortal. It had been many years since an Emperor Realm cultivator had appeared. Therefore, the news about the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor and my Wu Yuan was a huge shock to everyone. Zhao Kuo continued, "This time, I've gathered everyone here because I want to borrow everyone's strength to open the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor and enter to search for fortuitous encounters. When will we set off?" Someone asked. 5 days from now. The same rules apply. Each island master can bring a maximum of 5 people with him. Zhao Kuo said. The others were obviously more familiar with this rule, so when they heard Zhao Kuo's words, they nodded in agreement. "Remember to keep it a secret. All right, everyone, go back and prepare. We'll set off in 5 days," Zhao Kuo said. After the meeting was adjourned, everyone left one after another. Lin Feng chatted with Wu Ran and the others for a while before taking his leave. Today, Lin Feng had displayed his might and defeated Long Qianxue. Wu Ran and the others were excited. They were even more determined to befriend Lin Feng. They were also secretly glad that they had established a good relationship with Lin Feng before Lin Feng displayed his strength. If they had waited until Lin Feng displayed his strength, it would have been difficult to establish a good relationship with Lin Feng. Guoma Chong, Elder Wang Pengjiu, and Elder Li Zhongtong were in a good mood. Although their relationship was not as close as Wu Ren's with Lin Feng, it was still a good one. Lin Feng returned to his residence with Monk Ishio, Sun Zhan, and Wanyan Yang. This time, he planned to bring Monk Ishio, Sun Zhan, and Wanyan Yang. As he could only bring a maximum of 5 people with him, he did not have many top experts with him. Therefore, he could not bring 5 experts with him. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng told the 3 about the Wu Yuan Immortal Abode. After learning about the Wu Yuan Immortal Abode, the 3 of them were overjoyed. They didn't need to prepare anything for the trip to the Wu Yuan Celestial Palace. Lin Feng and the others spent the next few days meditating. That night, Wanhua Building delivered a letter. Lin Feng opened the letter and found that it was from Miao Kuer. Lin Gongzi Kuer happened to get some supreme-grade spirit tea and invited you to have a taste. If you're free, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Miao Kuer's signature was on the final payment. Lin Feng asked the maidservant to tell Miao Kuer that he would be there on time. Then, he asked someone to reward the maidservant with some origin crystals. The maidservant left. Lin Feng muttered, "Miao Kuer's invitation is clearly just an excuse. I wonder why she invited me over." The next day, Lin Feng went to meet Miao Kuer. Wanhua Building's business was still booming, and it was very lively. Here, all kinds of beautiful women could be found. It was a man's paradise. The beautiful woman had been waiting for Lin Feng outside. When she saw Lin Feng arrive, she swayed her slender waist and walked toward Lin Feng. She smiled and said, "Lin Gongzi, you're finally here. The Holy Maiden has been waiting for you for a long time." Lin Feng said, "It's a sin to keep the Holy Maiden waiting. I'll have to trouble you to lead the way. Why are you being so courteous with me?" The beautiful woman patted Lin Feng lightly, bringing a fragrant wind with her. Then, the beautiful woman turned around and walked up the stairs, swaying her slim waist. She brought Lin Feng to meet Miao Kuer. Chapter 1997. Just like the first time he had a date with Miao Kuer alone, the second time he came to Miao Kuer's place, Lin Feng still heard the beautiful zither music. The only difference was, the first time Lin Feng saw Miao Kuer was in the living room, and this time, he was in Miao Kuer's room. This made Lin Feng very surprised. One had to know that a woman's boudoir could not be casually entered by a man. There was a saying that went like this: entering a woman's boudoir. It was equivalent to entering the woman's inner world. Lin Feng did not know if this was true or not, but there was one thing he was very clear about. When a woman let you into her boudoir, to a certain extent, she had already accepted you as a person. Miao Kuer asked the beautiful woman to bring me into her boudoir. What is the reason? Lin Feng could not help but guess the reason. He found a place to sit down, while the beautiful woman left and closed the door. In the room, only Lin Feng and Miao Kuer were left. The zither music lingered in the air. It was very pleasant to hear. Lin Feng enjoyed this rare moment of peace. Listening to this beautiful and pleasant zither music, Lin Feng felt relaxed and happy. After the song ended, there was still an endless aftertaste. He smiled and clapped his hands, saying, "Every time I listen to the fairy play the zither, I can have a special feeling. It is Ku-er's greatest honor that young master likes it. Miao Ku-er smiled slightly, her voice gentle and pleasant. She immediately got up and came to the table, took out the tea set, tea leaves, and teapot, and began to boil water to make tea. Lin Feng could not help but recall the last time he drank tea at Dancing Butterfly Fairy's place. Dancing Butterfly Fairy was also very familiar with the art of tea. Like Miao Ku-er, she was proficient in the way of tea. Miao Ku-er also used spirit spring water. This spirit spring water was called Magnolia Spring Water. Although it could not be compared to the spirit spring water that Dancing Butterfly Fairy used to make tea, it was still incomparably precious. After brewing the spirit tea, Miao Ku-er smiled and said, "Young master, please taste the spirit tea." Lin Feng took a sip and felt a fragrance spread from the tip of his tongue to his entire body. It was indeed a very rare type of spirit tea. The taste is elegant, and the fragrance lingers on the teeth and cheeks. "It's really a good tea," Lin Feng said with a smile. Miao Ku-er said, "This tea is called Jade Spirit Celestial. It's produced at the peak of the snow mountain in the depths of the Jade Spirit Mountain range. It's produced in very small quantities, so it's very precious. Many tea masters also like to buy this kind of spiritual tea to taste." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Today, I was able to taste such good tea because of the fairy's good fortune." Miao Ku-er smiled and said, "I still have some here. If you like, you can take some with you when you leave." Lin Feng smiled and said, "A gentleman doesn't take away another's love. Fairy, you should keep this spirit tea. Moreover, even if you give me such good spirit tea, I'll just drink it like a whale drinking a cow. I don't know how to appreciate it, and I'll waste this good tea." Miao Ku-er smiled sweetly and then changed the topic. She said this time, "I invited you here because I have something to tell you." Lin Feng had long guessed that Miao Ku-er had other motives for inviting him here. Now that Miao Ku-er said that she had something to tell him, Lin Feng didn't find it strange. He said, "Fairy, if you have something to say, you can tell me. I'm all ears." Miao Ku-er's pretty face blushed slightly, and then she reached out to take off the veil on her face. Suddenly, a delicate face appeared in front of Lin Feng. After seeing this beautiful face, Lin Feng's mind flashed with a poem. A face that could captivate the birds and beasts, a face that could hide the moon and shame the flowers. Perhaps only such a poem could describe Miao Ku-er's breathtakingly beautiful face. Previously, Miao Ku-er had always worn a veil in front of others. Now, in front of him, she had taken off her veil. Then he thought about how Miao Ku-er had invited him to her boudoir. A thought suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind. However, Lin Feng felt that it was somewhat unrealistic. He and Miao Ku-er had only met a few times. How could a woman like Miao Ku-er fall in love with a man so casually? "Young master, am I beautiful?" At this moment, Miao Ku-er's voice interrupted Lin Feng's thoughts. After asking this question, Miao Ku-er's pretty face flushed red. She was incomparably shy. However, she mustered up her courage and looked up at Lin Feng. What a peerless beauty! Even with Lin Feng's picky eyes, he couldn't find any flaws in Miao Ku-er's body. This woman was simply synonymous with perfection. He nodded and said, "Fairy's beauty is rare in this world." Miao Ku-er said, "Young master, are you willing to live together with me?" After hearing Miao Ku-er's words, Lin Feng had just taken a sip of tea. He spat it out. Miao Ku-er looked like such a shy person, yet she actually asked such a direct question. "Young master, are you not willing to accept Ku-er?" Miao Ku-er couldn't help but frown slightly. It had to be said. A beauty was indeed a beauty. Even a slight frown from a beauty would have a unique charm. Lin Feng had seen too many beautiful women. Therefore, he wouldn't agree to anything just because Miao Ku-er confessed to him. The reason for that was because this matter was simply too strange. Lin Feng admitted that his charm was indeed very great. However, no matter how great his charm was, it couldn't be to the extent that Miao Ku-er would throw herself at him, right? There was definitely a reason for this abnormality. Lin Feng naturally understood this logic very well. Lin Feng said, "I'm flattered to be able to obtain your admiration, but there is one thing I don't understand. I wonder if you can explain it to me?" "What is it?" Miao Ku-er looked at Lin Feng in confusion. Lin Feng asked, "Why do you want to be together with me? If I say it's love at first sight, would you believe me?" Miao Kuer asked. Only a ghost would believe. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter inwardly. Of course, he didn't say these words out loud. He looked at Miao Kuer with a smile and said, "I naturally believe you. I know I'm very charming, but I didn't expect my charm to be so great that you would fall in love with me at first sight." Lin Feng grabbed Miao Kuer's jade-like hand. What a pair of gentle and soft hands. It was such a pair of hands that could play such a beautiful song. He gently tugged. Miao Kuer stood up and was pulled to Lin Feng's side. Miao Kuer fell into Lin Feng's arms. "What are you doing?" Miao Kuer asked with a red face. "I'm not doing anything. I just want to take a closer look at you." Lin Feng reached out and stroked Miao Kuer's delicate face. Miao Kuer's face was so red that it was almost bleeding. She quickly broke free from Lin Feng's embrace and stood up. Chapter 1998. Did I offend you? Lin Feng asked. Miao Kuer replied, "It's not that you're being rude to me, but I'm still not used to it. However, I'll slowly get used to it." Lin Feng smiled and said, "So that's how it is. I'll wait for you to slowly stop resisting this kind of contact." At this moment, Lin Feng had changed the way he addressed Miao Kuer, causing her to feel shy and happy at the same time. Miao Kuer's path of heartlessness was rather special. From heartlessness to love, from love to severing love, and from severing love to being heartless. Falling in love was a very important process. When Miao Kuer was in love, she would wholeheartedly fall in love with the man who made her fall in love with him. The deeper the love, the deeper one's understanding of the path of heartlessness would be after severing love. Thus, everything that Miao Kuer was doing for Lin Feng was sincere, and there was nothing pretentious about it. This was the terrifying part of the path of heartlessness. Lin Feng even believed that Miao Kuer had really fallen in love with him at first sight. It was not because she wanted to use him or had other motives. Lin Feng stayed at Miao Kuer's place for 2 hours before leaving. After Lin Feng left, the beautiful woman walked in and asked, "How is the relationship between the Holy Maiden and Lin Gongzi going?" Miao Kuer had a bashful look on her face as she said, "He should also like me." Seeing the bashful and seductive look on Miao Kuer's face, the beautiful woman's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the Holy Maiden had really fallen in love? It was easy to fall in love, but difficult to sever love. Thus, the beautiful woman was very worried about Miao Kuer severing love. She had successfully severed her love. She had soared into the sky. If she failed to sever her love, what would the future be like? The beautiful woman did not dare to imagine. Lin Feng walked briskly towards his residence. The image of Miao Kuer's delicate and beautiful face lingered in his mind. Love at first sight. Love at first sight. He raised his eyebrows. When Miao Kuer first said the words love at first sight to him, Lin Feng only had one thought. Who are you trying to fool? However, as he interacted with Miao Kuer, he realized that Miao Kuer seemed to really admire him. It was love at first sight. It didn't seem to be a lie. A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know what Miao Kuer is thinking, but I can only take one step at a time. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart. The next day, Lin Feng, Monkey Xiao, Sunjan, and Wanyan Yang set off for the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Everyone would gather at the Rogue Cultivator Alliance before heading to the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion. Currently, none of the island lords knew where the Wu Yuan Immortal Abode was located. This secret was held in the hands of the upper echelons of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. When they arrived at the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, Lin Feng and the others were brought to a courtyard. When they arrived, there were already close to 400 people gathered in the courtyard. More people continued to arrive. After everyone had arrived, Zhao Kuo took out a flying ship. Everyone entered the spaceship. Then, the spaceship tore through the void and left quickly. We'll be sailing for half a month. Everyone can rest in the spaceship or cultivate for a period of time, Zhao Kuo said. The spaceship was huge and was divided into 27 floors. Each person had a room, and there were still many empty rooms. Now, many people were talking about the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion. This Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion was related to the ethereal immortal. Naturally, it would attract a lot of attention. During this period, Lin Feng had been cultivating in seclusion. He was mainly comprehending the various daos that he had comprehended. Time passed quickly when cultivating. Therefore, half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Bang, bang, bang. There was a knock on the door. Lin Feng came back to his senses. Master, we've arrived at the sea. Elder Wu Ran just sent someone to inform you that we'll arrive at the destination in 6 hours. Wang Yanyang's voice could be heard in the room. Lin Feng stood up and opened the door. He said, "Let's go outside and take a look." Lin Feng went to the deck. After coming out, he saw the surrounding dark clouds rolling. Huge lightning pillars descended from the sky and distorted the void. The lightning and the sea were connected. It was simply a scene of doomsday. Around the lightning pillars, there was a raging storm. The raging storm had a powerful suction force, and it easily swallowed the passing ships. This place is called the Thunderstorm Sea. There are hurricanes and lightning pillars everywhere. It's very dangerous and few people come here. When Wu Ren saw Lin Feng walk out, he walked towards Lin Feng and said. Lin Feng nodded. This sea was indeed dangerous. However, the Rogue Cultivator Alliance had obviously mastered the method to enter the depths of the sea. The spaceship flew carefully, avoiding the raging storm and lightning pillars. Finally, the spaceship entered the depths of the Thunderstorm Sea. There was a white fog, and there was a huge natural illusion array in front of them. This natural illusion array could easily trap any cultivator who entered it to death. The spaceship passed through the natural illusion array. It took a full 7 days to pass through the natural illusion array. A huge island appeared in their line of sight. We're here. The Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion is in the depths of the island, Wu Ren said. Everyone on the spaceship walked out and looked into the depths. Many people were discussing the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion excitedly. They had finally arrived at the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion. Here, what kind of opportunities could they obtain? Everyone was looking forward to it. The spaceship stopped in the depths of the mountain range. In the depths of the mountain range, there was a huge palace. The palace covered an area of dozens of acres and was 300 meters tall. There was a huge horizontal board on top of it. There were 4 big words written on the horizontal board. These 4 big words were the words, Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion. Now that the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion was protected by a powerful restriction, one had to break the restriction first to enter. Lin Feng observed these restrictions and could not help but frown. The restrictions here were too strong, and it would be very difficult to break them. Moreover, breaking the restrictions here would easily lead to the attack of the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion's restrictions. Once he was attacked by the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion's restrictions, he might end up dying. Lin Feng was very clear about this. It was no wonder the Rogue Cultivator Alliance had found so many experts. It was indeed not an easy task for a few people or a dozen people to break the formation. If they were not careful, they might even be wiped out. Zhao Kui said in a deep voice, everyone must have seen that the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion's restrictions are too strong. We need to split into 2 groups. One group is responsible for breaking the restriction, while the other group is responsible for blocking the attacks of the Wu Yuan Immortal Mansion's restrictions and protecting the people who break the restriction. Chapter 1999. Naturally, no one objected to Zhao Kui's suggestion. The spirit array experts were in charge of breaking the array, while the other cultivators were in charge of blocking the attacks of the restriction. This combination was the best way to break the array. Many cultivators had done some research on array formations. However, some of them were more advanced in their research and had higher attainments in array formations. Some of them were more shallow in their research and had average attainments in array formations. It was not difficult to find more than 100 cultivators who were proficient in array formations among more than 400 people. Everyone was scattered around and each of them was in charge of breaking a part of the array formation. Such a combination could be said to complement each other and achieve the greatest effect. After everyone was done with their tasks, they dispersed. Breaking the array formation was a complicated process. It was full of difficulties. However, with so many people working together, the array formation enveloping the martial origin immortal manor was gradually being broken. Lin Feng said in a low voice, "Be careful when we enter the martial origin immortal manor." Monkey Xiao, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang nodded. Although it looked like they were working together to break the array formation, this was because they had not seen any treasures yet. If they saw any treasures, they would definitely fall out with each other. It took a total of 10 days for everyone to break the restriction. However, they only managed to open a small gap in the restriction. It was unrealistic to completely destroy the restriction that enveloped the entire martial origin immortal manor. In fact, tens of millions of years had passed since the immortal ancient era. As time passed, the power of the restriction had been severely weakened. If it was during the immortal ancient era when the restriction had just been set up, Lin Feng and the others would not have been able to break it. After breaking the restriction, everyone entered one after another. The first thing that appeared in front of them was a huge stone door. Everyone worked together to open the stone door. Then, everyone entered the martial origin immortal manor. The interior of the martial origin immortal manor was empty and dark. It emitted a gloomy and cold aura. After entering such an ancient immortal manor, everyone was naturally cautious. Many times, danger and opportunity coexisted, and opportunity was accompanied by danger. Therefore, the closer one was to the opportunity, the more dangerous it would be. They had to be careful. Since ancient times, countless people had died in the last few steps of obtaining the opportunity. The first hall of the martial origin immortal manor was very empty. There were only 3 items. The first item was a 3-meter-tall stone tablet. This stone tablet recorded the life story of the master of the Wu Yuan immortal abode, my Wu Yuan. The second and third items were both statues. These 2 statues were at the entrance to the second palace. The statue on the left was that of a handsome man. The statue on the right was a statue of a woman, as beautiful as a fairy. He did not know who these 2 statues belonged to, nor did he know why they were placed here. Everyone gathered in front of the stone tablet to read the introduction to Makino Takeo's life. My Wu Yuan, born in 1991 of the immortal ancient calendar, the son of the Mai clan's patriarch. This Mai Wu Yuan was an individual from the early stages of the immortal ancient era. Back then, the Mai clan was also a top-notch clan. Mai Takeo had shown amazing talent for cultivation since he was a child, but his family's ancestor had passed away in an accident when he was 6. The family had lost a guardian deity that could intimidate all forces in the outside world. As a result, the Mai family was besieged by many forces, some of whom wanted to rob the family of their resources. There were also some forces that wanted to replace them. The once glorious Mai family fell from grace. Some members of the Mai clan fled and changed their names. Until Mai Takeo grew up. Mai Takeo became an emperor in the immortal ancient era, the first person to do so in the 9 States Plain. Later, Mai Takeo left the 9 States Plain in pursuit of the ethereal, immortal realm. He went to many places, including the Undying Realm, the Yao Realm, the Demon Realm, the Dragon Realm, and many other worlds. Later, he went to the Celestial Realm. Then, he found a heaven-shaking stone tablet in a land of death in the Celestial Realm. When he saw the words, heaven-shaking stone tablet, Lin Feng's pupils constricted. Heaven-shaking stone tablet. He was too familiar with it. There was another heaven-shaking stone tablet in his mountain river ring. Back then, in the Starry Sky ancient city in the Starry Sky world, a powerful otherworldly god was born. Invincible. How many experts died at the hands of the otherworldly gods? Later, Lin Feng carried the heaven-shaking stone tablet in the Starry Sky ancient city and killed dozens of otherworldly gods. Scenes of the past surfaced in his mind. The heaven-shaking stone tablet had a great background. Legend had it that the heaven-shaking stone tablet recorded 3,000 cultivation methods of the 3,000 great Daos. Legend had it that the heaven-shaking stone tablet recorded the oldest method to become an immortal. Legend had it that the heaven-shaking stone tablet recorded the location of the supreme divine court. Legend had it that the heaven-shaking stone tablet hid the greatest secret of the myriad worlds. Legend had it that there were too many legends about the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Heaven-shaking stone tablet. Mai Takeo actually obtained the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Some cultivators exclaimed. Clearly, they had also heard of the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Many people couldn't help but frown because they had also heard of the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Some people even went to look for the heaven-shaking stone tablet. However, they didn't find any clues. The heaven-shaking stone tablet was too mysterious. Everyone continued to read below. After my Takeo obtained the heaven-shaking stone tablet, he comprehended the secrets within and obtained the method to become an immortal. In fact, there were also some methods to become an immortal in this world. For example, the Supreme Immortal Scripture and the Reincarnation Immortal Scripture recorded the methods to become an immortal. However, these methods couldn't make cultivators become true immortals. They could only become itinerant immortals or pseudo-immortals. There were two ways to become a true immortal. The first way was to obtain the heaven-shaking stone tablet. From it, one could comprehend the method to become an immortal. The second way was to find the Supreme Divine Court. One could also comprehend the method to become an immortal in the Supreme Divine Court. However, both of these methods were too difficult. This was also the reason why there were so few immortals. Mai Takeo comprehended the method to become an immortal and experienced 3 calamities and 9 disasters. Finally, he succeeded. He became an immortal. After Mai Takeo became an immortal, he went to the wasteland. Seeing the words wasteland, Lin Feng frowned slightly. It was actually this place, an incomparably chaotic and dangerous place. Many great emperors died in the wasteland. This place was connected to the heavenly realm, the underworld, and the chaotic Xinhuang realm, and it was also connected to another terrifying place. That was the foreign world. According to the records on the stone tablet, after entering the wasteland, Mai Takeo discovered a huge secret. Once this secret was revealed, it would shock the world. In order to explore this secret, Mai Takeo entered the foreign world. However, he didn't expect that Mai Takeo would eventually die in the foreign world. Chapter 2000. However, there was no mention of how Takeo Makino died. It only stated that after Takeo Makino's death, someone brought his body back from the other world. As for who that person was, there was no mention of that person. Everyone guessed that the person who brought back Mai Takeo's corpse might be the person who built this stone tablet for Mai Takeo. This person could be Mai Takeo's disciple, friend, or lover. There were all possibilities. However, too much time had passed, so it was impossible to investigate what happened in the past. I've heard of this other world before. It's an extremely mysterious world. However, Mai Takeo was an immortal. How could such a powerful person die in the other world? It's unbelievable, someone said. It was hard to accept the fact that Mai Takeo died in the other world. It was indeed hard to accept that someone as powerful as Mai Takeo died in the other world. What kind of existence could kill an immortal? Or perhaps, was there a hidden reason for Mai Takeo's death? However, this was already a mystery. The heaven-shaking stone tablet. Many people came back to their senses and rushed into the depths. This was because the stone tablet mentioned the heaven-shaking stone tablet when it introduced Mai Takeo. Mai Takeo seemed to have obtained the heaven-shaking stone tablet in the past. If the heaven-shaking stone tablet was still in the martial origin immortal abode, its value was too great. It was enough to make anyone go crazy. Everyone rushed into the depths of the palace and disappeared without a trace. They all went to look for the heaven-shaking stone tablet or other treasures. However, some cultivators stayed behind. Many cultivators were checking the stone tablet and the 2 statues. They wanted to see if there was anything special about the stone tablet and the statues. However, after checking for a while, they didn't find anything. Those cultivators left one after another. Wang Yang also checked, then shook his head and said, "They're just ordinary statues and stone tablets. There's nothing special about them." Lin Feng nodded and was about to enter the depths of the palace with Monk Ishio, Sun Jian, and Wang Yang. Suddenly, he stopped. Lin Feng carefully observed the 2 stone tablets and couldn't help but frown slightly. Monk Ishio asked, "What's wrong? Is there something wrong?" "There's something wrong with the 2 statues." Lin Feng looked at the 2 statues and said, "Something is wrong with the statue? There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it." Monk Ishio observed for a while and couldn't help but ask doubtfully. Wang Yang and Sun Jian also nodded. They also didn't find anything wrong. Look, we're facing the entrance of the palace. On the left, there's a statue of a man, and on the right, there's a statue of a woman. This arrangement follows the customs of men being superior to women, and in the five elements, the left is superior to the right. It's also in line with the placement of the male statue on the left and the female statue on the right. Lin Feng pointed at the two statues. Monk Ishio nodded and said, "There is indeed such a saying, but the statue in front of us is not in the wrong position. Actually, there's one thing that many people don't know. The statues placed by the left reverend and the right reverend shouldn't be facing the main entrance. Instead, they should be looking out from the entrance." As Lin Feng spoke, he came to the door and turned around. He stood in the doorway, facing the outside. To his left was the statue of the woman. What appeared on the right was the statue of the man. Maybe the person who placed it made a mistake, Sun Jian said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's a possibility. But what if the person who placed it didn't make a mistake? The two of you try to move the two statues." Sun Jian and Wanyan Yang nodded and came to the two statues. Each statue was 3 meters tall. It was unknown what material they were made of, but they weighed about 50,000 kilograms. They were very heavy. Sun Jian and Wanyan Yang carried the two statues. Lin Feng said, "Swap the two statues." Sun Jian and Wanyan Yang nodded and swapped the positions of the two statues. At this moment, everyone realized that the right hand of the statue on the right and the left hand of the statue on the left were slightly extended. The index and middle fingers were pressed together. Then, they both pointed in the same direction. "This is?" Everyone was shocked. Everyone looked in the direction the two fingers were pointing at. Lin Feng leaped up and flew up. He arrived at the top of the palace. Lin Feng punched the ceiling of the palace. Whoosh! The ceiling was smashed by Lin Feng. Then, something fell down. It was a white jade brocade box. Lin Feng grabbed the falling white jade brocade box. He quickly landed on the ground. "What's inside?" Sun Jian asked impatiently. Ishio and Wanyan Yang also looked at the white jade brocade box in Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng opened the white jade brocade box. Inside the white jade brocade box, there was actually a ring. He tried to send his divine sense into the ring, but he found that it was blocked. The restrictions on the storage ring were very powerful. This is a spatial ring. However, the restrictions on this ring are very powerful. "Looks like I need to go back and study how to break the restrictions on this ring," Lin Feng said. Ishio, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang were very envious of Lin Feng's luck. Of course, they were also happy for Lin Feng that he could obtain such a storage ring. "Whose storage ring is this? Why is it hidden so well?" Ishio couldn't help but ask curiously. Lin Feng observed the storage ring and said, "The words Hua Faisi are engraved on it. I'm guessing that this ring belongs to a woman. Her name is very likely Hua Faisi." Everyone nodded. Lin Feng kept the ring. Then, the group headed deeper into the treasury. Not long after, they saw many corpses. Some of the treasury doors were opened. Many cultivators started fighting each other, dying tragically in the process. "Ba! Excellent, excellent." Ishio put his palms together with a solemn expression when he saw the corpses lying in pools of blood. They had been allies just a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, they were fighting each other. Lin Feng didn't find it strange. For the sake of benefits, father and son turning against each other, brothers fighting each other to the death, were too common. Moreover, the relationship between cultivators was as thin as water. The four of them continued walking deeper into the treasury. They saw that many treasury doors had been opened. Many cultivators were fighting each other inside. It was an extremely tragic scene. Cultivators died tragically one after another. Lin Feng's group also opened some treasury doors. Inside, there were all kinds of medicinal pills, magic treasures, origin crystals, and so on. Some cultivators tried to snatch the treasures, but they were all repelled. In the end, Lin Feng emptied 7 treasures, Ishio emptied 5 treasures, and Sun Jian and Wanyan Yang emptied 3 treasures each. There's a huge courtyard inside. It's covered by a restriction. Heavens! Is there an immortal herb of immortality planted here? Exclamations came from the depths of the treasury. Everyone was alarmed. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.